Peace and love, good people. Peace and love. Salute, salute, salute to the good family. Hope everybody's doing well. Salute to everyone. The goddess is in the building. Infinite blessings to the good family. Give me 1 second to just turn this in a way that I can see better. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I think I'm good. Infinite peace to the good family. I hope that everybody um, had a great weekend. Hopefully, you guys are having and enjoying a lovely Sunday. Yes, we got some cooking to do, some interesting things to discuss um, that I definitely want to peel back some layers of alongside the good family to get your take on much of what has been surfacing over the past week since we last convened, of course. So, interesting stuff we're going to get into in just a moment. But of course, before we begin to divulge these aspects, I definitely have to and must tap in with the beautiful family and give my salutations and see who is stepping in the building so far as you guys make your way in this good Sunday. Let's see who's up in here first of all. Salute to the king, Snoopy. Mac first on deck in the building this evening, brothers and sisters. He says, Dream Team, DHP. You already know King is DHP over everybody and at all times, King Snoopy. Infinite blessings to you. As always, King, it's lovely to see you. Yes, indeed. Miss Queen, sugar free. Queen Sugar, the boss with the hot sauce. You already know what it is, King Snoop. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining this good Sunday. Oh my goodness, we got my good twin, the King, Darren Anderson, in the building, ladies and gentlemen. He says salute to the beautiful queen, aka my twin, Sugar Free. Salute to the rest of the kings and the queens in the chat. Big blessings, big salute, and big energy to my twin, Daryl. And yes, King, all the way up, y'all. Put some nines in the chat if y'all ready for some cooking. Definitely put some nines in the chat if all is audible for you. Make sure that I am coming through properly. Let me know that we are good to go. Give me some nines in the chat if everything is sounding good and you guys are ready for some cooking. You know what I mean? Salute and blessings to the king, Daryl, my twin. Oh my goodness, my beautiful sis, Cammy Cam is in the building, brothers and sisters. She says, my beautiful sis with her hearts and her nines and her smiley faces. Thank you, beautiful sis. Lovely to see you as always. Always brings a smile to my face to see the lovely, beautiful sis in the building. Blessings to you, sis. I hope you've been having a good weekend. Who else we got up in here? We also got the King Jut. Big stepping 10 toes down as always. He says salute to the great warrior queen. Infinite blessings to the King Jit. It's always lovely to see you. I see y'all giving each other some salutations, dapping each other up, which I love to see. Salute to the King G McCall. I simply call him the G as he knows. Salute to the G in the building. He says salute, queen. Thank you so much, King, for stopping by. I appreciate you big. You already know what it is. Who else we got up in here? Thank you, Snoop, with my nines. Okay, so we are good to go. I'm glad to hear that. Oh my goodness, the King Scythe, ladies and gentlemen, entered the building with his salutes on deck. Big energy, big peace, big blessings to the King Scythe. Always wonderful to see the King. Yes, I see you, King. Big hearts, big love to you as well. We got the King Corbin in the building as well. He says, peace, queen, peace, and infinite blessings to the King Corbin. Also gave me my nines. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm coming through properly. Oh my goodness, we got the King and the Sensei, Stormy B-Man himself, brothers and sisters. Okay, salute to the King Stormy. Peace and blessings to you. I hope that all is well and radiant your way, King. Thank you so much for stopping by. Oh my goodness, the lovely King Slim Hussein is in the building with us. Lovely to see you, King. He says the lovely Shakur Mars delivering the sweet truth. Blessings, Queen. Infinite blessings to you as well, King Slim. Always wonderful to see you. What did the King Stormy say? The sensei said, Sugar Free, I hope you've caught some of my recent lives. I have not, King, but I definitely will double down and make sure that I go collect some intel. because I know whatever you're putting down is definitely something that I need to be picking up. So I'll definitely go tap in with the King Stormy. And brothers and sisters, make sure that you guys do as well. Salute to the King Anthony Ingram in the building, who says, salute, Queen. Infinite blessings to you. Lovely to see you. All right, let's see. As you guys, make your way up in here. Interesting bit of revelations, I guess, we got this weekend to discuss. The things that we have been seeing come to surface throughout the past week since, of course, we convened last. Some interesting things are happening. Now, I think that overall, at least from what I have been saying, and of course, definitely posit your thoughts, a lot of pointing of fingers has been happening, has it not? Has it not the past few days, brothers and sisters? Some pointing of fingers going on, interestingly enough, as if these very people doing the pointing and the blaming and the nitpicking haven't themselves committed the very acts that they are accusing other people of, ladies and gentlemen. Right? And so today, on your screen, brothers and sisters, I got the young King Devin pointing right back at these suckers. You understand? Because that's very much what the young King has done across social media. Okay? That's what he's done. Pointed the blame and placed the onus right back at these suckers and these sassy ass chumps who have so much to say all the time. Isn't that interesting? How the pointing of fingers have just been running wild in these social media streets, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Whole lot of nana boo boo type of energy going on. Right? Sassy ass, capping ass, chatty patty behavior has been going on in these streets, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? But what I'm wondering is, amid all of this nonsensical pointing of fingers, when are these suckers actually going to get to pointing a pen at some motherfucking contracts? That's what I want pointing. Point the goddamn pen on the damn dotted line so we can concretize some smoke. Am I capping or no, ladies and gentlemen? You tell me. Don't y'all think it's about that goddamn time to start pointing some ink at some documentation? I don't want no sassy ass shit, Twitter back and forths. Let's get some materialization. Let's bring some things into fruition, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get some finalizations on the table? Can we get some concretizations happening concerning these so-called fighters who we deem to be premier? Yes? Now, at the outset of it all, ladies and gentlemen, what I do know is that DHP is certainly with it, certainly about the concretization and finalization of agreements in order that fights can be made that we want to see, and most importantly, that he wants to embark upon for legacy for himself, so that he is all the way 10 toes in that. But as per fucking sassy usual, good people, the chunk energy is such that there is a need to avert the concretizing, avert the materialization of anything beyond a fucking tweet, anything beyond the pointing of fingers, anything beyond the foolish lambasting of the very person they are to be proven besides. All right? The chump energy that is all too pervasive right now is steadily and continuously tucking its tail instead of finalizing details. We got suckers out here prolonging the signing of fights deliberately and outrightly. Prolonging, stalling, circumventing the signing of fights. What is going on? We got suckers out here also waiting on motherfucking purse bids, ladies and gentlemen, instead of making the decision to make the fights happen, to solidify these things. We're waiting for purse bids as if that is going to change or determine any different outcome, brothers and sisters. What's going on? Absolute imbecility is what is going on the part of these chumps. Total and absolute imbecility. Okay? That's what's going on right now. And hold on, because I just glanced over and I see somebody that just walked up in here that y'all know I don't play about. Infinite blessings, big love to my beautiful, 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 beautiful king, BFTB, who just walked up in here, ladies and gentlemen. Infinite love, infinite peace to you, king. He says salute to the lovely goddess. Blessings to the king, BF. All right? Absolute imbecility is what is at hand, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And I know that the good family has been peeping it because we have been tapped in with the likes of the beautiful king. We have been tapped in with the likes of the lovely King Champside, right? We have been tapped in with each other here with the goddess Sugar-Free Mars, right? And the rest of the brothers and sisters out here who do this work. So that we are privy to the inanity, okay? Now, I think that it goes without saying, brothers and sisters, that in us observing the context of everything that has been unfolding, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we just got to keep it a buck. The goddamn snatched Way Stevenson, the snatched God, okay, the I'm so tight and tiny Stevenson has made an absolute and utter mockery of himself at this particular point, brothers and sisters. That's just the role that I have come to in observing all of these crazy, crazy moves that have been going on by him and that old slick beard jive turkey. Okay? And consequently, because of the folly and inanity of him and the goddamn slick beard jive turkey, right? It is now looking absolutely and highly probable that as a result of those antics and the buffoonery on that side, brothers and sisters, that the Snatchway Stevenson will be completely left in the dirt because of these antics, because of an outright refusal to stand on business. He is liable to leave his own self in the dirt. And for what reason? Other than he chooses cowardice over purpose. That's the reason. And he very well does not have to do that. Okay? But there is something within he and his team that is so, I don't know, drunk off of the aspect of visibility alone that they are constantly bypassing the importance and paramountness of work being put in at the elite level in order to prove one's stature among their contemporaries, as we say time and time again here on this side. Okay? This chump, E.T. goddamn Stevenson, has been pompously gascinating. You guys see it and have seen it. Okay, y'all seen it all up and down these goddamn social media streets, ladies and gentlemen. Pompously gascinating, foolishly posturing, as if he sits on the top of the throne of boxing. As if he moved the pieces on the chessboard and has the final say and must be placated to at all times because of this kingly stature that he thinks that he has. He thinks that he is what? The king of the hill. You know, I love to recite those words of the great King Roy Jones. He thinks he is the king of the hill. His level of dement has reached that level, brothers and sisters. So that, ladies and gentlemen, what we've been witnessing, okay, from that man E.T. Stevenson, Shook One Stevenson, Snatch Waist Stevenson. Oh, I'm so tiny, Stevenson. What we have been witnessing from this chump has been nothing short of malarkey and buffoonery, because he thinks that he is exempt from having to fight the biggest fight of his life against the young king. He has absolutely convinced himself, or possibly, has been convinced by that old jive turkey, that he need not do that. He need not show and prove. And I don't give a fuck if this nigga likes to hear it or not. The facts will always be stated on this side. You go on and block my damn Twitter page like a sassy bitch, chump. Yes, I got the message, but you ain't blocking this real shit. You ain't blocking the truth. So go ahead and hit that block button as many times as you can. Because that real shit is always going to permeate with the real people who are in line to receive it. And that real work would always stand for itself and speak for itself. And apparently, this chump knows nothing about that. Okay? The clout chasing, the incessant tweeting, ladies and gentlemen, the inflated sense of entitlement that this man has, the bogus ultimatums that he threw out at DHP. Ladies and gentlemen, the man has absolutely lost his ever-loving mind, as I had posited to you last week. It has to be that this man has lost his mind. This cannot be the same young man that I so staunchly supported for the better part of nearly a decade. This cannot be the same person I'm sitting back and viewing, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? It cannot be. What a disgrace. What a disappointment. As we all know, brothers and sisters, the young king agreed, absolutely agreed to those ridiculous stipulations that the Shook One Stevenson imposed. The imposition of him coming down to meet him at the 144 catch weight, quote unquote, meet him at this catch weight, okay? That he had imposed and pushed for I don't know how many weeks and months on end. Devin agreed. Let's not sidestep that. Let's not sidestep that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want that ever to be forgotten out here. I know it won't be amongst the good family, but there are people who are really trying to curve around that reality like it did not happen, like the young king did not agree and say yes to that 144 catch weight. What, 2 months ago, brothers and sisters? How the hell is it that within a matter of 2 months, here we are 2 months later after that particular point, pretty much, and still Snatch Waist goddamn Stevenson is still sitting on his damn hands, brothers and sisters. He is not pointing a pen at the dotted line, at the paper, at the document, at the bout agreement that we have all been waiting for him to sign thus far. Absolutely sitting on his hands, but he is pointing fingers at the size of the young king's waist. Ooh, as you snatch it in me, ooh, child, see, you weigh this much. You ain't nowhere near snatching than me, baby. You got some pounds to go now, you hear? You see this sassy shit, good people? This nigga is pointing his fucking fingers at his keyboard to type some sassy shit to Devin about his weight. That's what he's doing. That's what he is wasting his time on, brothers and sisters. It can't take that long to put your John Hancock on a document, ladies and gentlemen. Where is the signature on the bout agreement? Why are we 2 months damn near removed from Devin's concession, from his agreement to meet you at 144? Nothing else needs to be said. So that what he weighs never mattered, because he already had agreed to meet you at the weight that you fucking push for, chump. You get me? What's going on? Oh yeah, we're going to speak very fiery today. Very, very much so. He agreed, brothers and sisters. That cannot be bypassed, right? And so that in his agreeing, all of that was for naught, ladies and gentlemen, because Devin did the agreeing only to turn around and have this damn sucker implement and introduce what? Yet another wildly egregious demand and stipulation, as we know. That being for the young king to vacate his WBO welterweight title in order to face him now. So that he was scared to death that the young king had agreed to the weight. So now we got to throw yet another roadblock in the middle of the road, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely disgraceful at every turn and juncture. Okay? The severity and significance of this disgraceful posture that the shook one E.T. Stevenson has assumed is not given enough light, even still, by the general and extended boxing community. We got that fire all the way up on high in the conscious boxing streets, no doubt, right? But that extended boxing community is still finding ways to circumvent the severity and the disrespect of this man's posture and throwing out these ludicrous, egregious demands and random stipulations that have never before occurred in boxing. What fighter in the history of this sport do you know that said, drop your belt, drop your championship in order to face me? When have you ever heard that, ladies and gentlemen? When has anybody, I'll wait. When has anybody ever heard of that? Okay? Hasn't happened. Hasn't happened. Go ahead and absolutely jettison your championship status in order to face an opponent. Excuse me? Isn't the point of amassing the strap to fight and further excel within the pedigree at the elite level by facing the elite around you? Isn't that why you attain championship? Isn't that how you get your championship? By dethroning the other kings around you? Taking their spot? Taking their crown? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? What is this puss-ass energy? And who would waste time contriving such an epicene, effeminate concept in boxing? Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. The severity and significance of that posture and how disgraceful it is. This posture that the shook one has assumed is not given enough light or criticism, moreover. It's not given enough public scrutiny, not nearly enough censuring and scolding. Okay? Suffice it to say that we've never seen or heard of such a stipulation made by any fighter in the history of the sport. As aforementioned, ladies and gentlemen, this coward, absolute coward, hot girl Summer Stevenson, is not being criticized nearly enough. He is not being reproached enough for this level of foolishness that he has been exhibiting. He and that old slick beard jive turkey. I never in my boxing days seen anything so condemnatory as it pertains to the lengths that one would go through just to avoid smoke, brothers and sisters. It's just like, go find another sport to participate in then, nigga. Because this is crazy. I don't even know why this chump calls himself a boxer at this point. The way he is ducking and evading competition. It's ridiculous to me. Absolutely shameful. The simple thought that you can't impose upon another champion, good people, a champion, that they ought to vacate the title in order to fight you. Who the fuck are you? Like, who? It's just, when you really let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen, it really is absolutely diabolical. Who does this man think he is? Go on and drop your belt if you want to fight me now. Excuse me? If that's the case, what's the purpose of attaining championship at all? If the very thing that you work for as a fighter, the very dream of a fighter, is to amass a stature of championship within the sport. What is going on here? The very thing that gives a fighter credence and stature is ineffectual. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, I had to plug my thing back in. Okay? It's rendered ineffectual in the eyes of Shakur Stevenson, according to his perspective. The very thing that gives you credence and stature, he is asking you to bypass outrightly. Give up, put down. Is this man's mentality? What type of faulty-ass philosophy is this? The very thing that's going to land you an opportunity to solidify your stature and your place as a fighter is the thing that he is telling you to put down and walk away from, back away from? So you mean to tell me that according to E.T. Stevenson's warped, sassy-ass logic, brothers and sisters, in order to fight the likes of him, apparently, and him alone, right, one ought to not hold a championship strap? If that's the case, why is he going around gascinating about how he's a 4-division champion? You get where I'm going? Make it the fuck make sense. Why is he going around gascinating constantly? Oh, 4-division champ, 4-division champ, 4-division. What the fuck is the point then? If one can just vacate a belt in order to fight another opponent. Likewise, brothers and sisters, wouldn't that make his own stature as a champion null and void? But you see, the imbecility and this level of juvenility that this man's mentality is stuck on is such that he cannot process these types of questions. He is not looking at this particular logic. He is not looking at it from an angle, that highlights how egregious this disposition and these statements are. Because he and the stick-beard damn jive turkey are not interested, apparently, in logic, ladies and gentlemen. They are not interested in anything but a by any means necessary approach to gaining attention. That's the focal point for these suckers, for these chumps. How best can we gain attention? It doesn't matter how farcical in nature it is, how egregious in nature it is. Doesn't matter how we got to get it, whether it's through goddamn meat riding, clout chasing, right? Proclaiming how you and your brother slept head to toe, nut to butt, as my beautiful King PF said previously. Don't matter if you got to go on, national television and talk about, oh, I love him with all my heart. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter if you got to go on film sets with your fake ass call outs. That old slick beard jive turkey gonna have you swimming in the ocean with the damn orca and the dolphins. Don't matter the lengths that you have to go through, ladies and gentlemen, as long as it's gonna garner attention by way of clout chasing the next person's name, apparently that is what they will do to gain that attention. Doesn't matter. Any and everything is on the table when it comes to Hot Girl Summer Stevenson and that whole crew over there. Absolutely anything will be done to remain in proximity, ladies and gentlemen, to relevancy by using the name of the young king, Devin. They will do anything but fight that man, that is. Anything else is on the table except fighting him. Ain't that something, brothers and sisters? Isn't that amazing? Right? Now, I find it of importance to denote that the clout riding that we see going on, brothers and sisters, of the young King Devin's name by the shook one Snatchway Stevenson is not simply some vague random assumption that I am making or that I'm being accusatory about. That's not the point of it. I'm not in the business of that. Okay, just to randomly and vaguely and baselessly be accusatory. That's not it at all. Okay, but that what I'm saying and pointing out by these observations and analyses is that upon my viewing of it, okay, as a boxing diehard, is that I find it that on the part of the Shook One and that old stick beard jive turkey, that it is a necessity. It's a necessity for he and the jive turkey to do this clout riding and you know what I'm saying? It's of a necessity to them. That's what I have gathered. Okay. It's of absolute paramount, in other words, ladies and gentlemen. It's central to building Hot Girl Summer's career. The clout riding is essential to the building of Hot Girl Summer's career, brothers and sisters. They need to do that. Do you understand? And when you look at the long history of the names being associated constantly aligning themselves with Devin, then you can see, that this isn't anything new, right? This is just an elevated, upgraded level, more modern update to the program that they've already been on, so to speak. Because think about it, brothers and sisters. Who else can Shakur Stevenson fight? And the beautiful King BF brought this up in his discussion yesterday, which was a very viable and valid point, and I totally agreed. Okay? Who is Shakur Stevenson going to fight, ladies and gentlemen? Who else can he fight that will garner and amass the level of attention similar to that of Young King? Who can he fight with that level of excitement around it, interest in it, with the built-in history of it? There is no one on earth. Perhaps the only man on earth would be Purple Payne Davis, but he is out of commission. That's why I don't speak for him, or I don't speak about him in the present tense, because he has not been an active fighter for the past year and a half or so. Okay, but he would be the only name that would be of that we could see tantamount to that of the Young King, right? But who? There is no other name, ladies and gentlemen, outside of the Young King. Think about this, brothers and sisters. This man, E.T. Stevenson, fought Teofimo Lopez just in January. That's not too long ago. Okay? And there was absolutely no buzz, brothers and sisters. No buzz around that fight. And Tio is a notable name, as we know. The most notable name on his resume. And nobody gave a damn. Absolutely no buzz in the buildup, in hearing it being announced. Nothing. No anticipation, no passion. Nobody was galvanized at all around the solidifying of that fight. Now, we watched the fight, okay? A lot of us diehards, we watched the fight, okay? But there is no cognizant boxing diehard that will say that that fight captured the hearts and minds of the people. It caught our attention, but it did not capture an ounce of the heart of the people. It didn't catch the soul of the people, brothers and sisters. It just simply did not do that. Okay? Was it a good matchup for his resume? Absolutely. Okay, was I happy to see it made? Yes, because finally, here is Shakur Stevenson with a viable, name that he could add on his resume. It's not just Cepeda. It's not just goddamn Herring. You know what I'm saying? It's not no damn Yoshino, etc. and so forth. But that Teofimo Lopez was, can be used and viewed as a centerpiece in his resume. Now, he finally had a type of name that could say, okay, he fought somebody, that is of a particular stature. Do you understand? As we spoke of previously, right? But also, in addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, as we also touched on last week, we knew that he was going to absolutely go in there and dismantle Teofimo Lopez. Do you understand? That's something that we already knew, as we already spoke on, brothers and sisters. There was no question about it. And not only that, but that there is an overall element missing with Shakur Stevenson as far as his connection to the boxing public, for the reason why I don't think that fight garnered any attention. And just historically, in viewing his career, there hasn't been any real excitement around the fights, because he has been fighting nobody of nobility. Teofimo was the first, and even that didn't fucking capture the fire of people in boxing. People, let's talk about it. The one fight where we could have said, oh, okay, well, this is it, y'all. Corey's out here fighting Tio. Okay, but because Tio, even though he was a viable name, because we knew that he wasn't going to be anywhere near able to compete on the level of a Shakur Stevenson, it took the wind out of the sails. Do you understand? He has not connected, ladies and gentlemen, to the boxing public. There is no connection. The way he connects to us, and this is a failure on their part to understand, the way that he connects to us is by making the fights that we want, or at least, positioning yourself truly and honestly in spaces where you do your absolute best to get those fights. This man, Shakur Stevenson, is too busy telling you he don't need the fights. He don't need to make anything happen with the very people that will stamp him. How the fuck does that make sense? You tell me. The very people that we want to see him be made with. He is telling you, I don't need them. I done made millions now. I can fight whoever I want. And all this other childishness. This cowardly talk. He is not connected. That is why, brothers and sisters. He is not connected to the heart of the people because he has not shown heart. He has not shown heart. He has not shown a willingness to compete with the best. Okay, there's a separation factor here, in other words. For whatever reason that it's there, it is there. Okay? And guess what, brothers and sisters? It translates. The very thing that I'm speaking of translates. You can obviously see it evinced through the metrics, through the engagement level. It translates through the fact that he is unproven via metrics like pay-per-view sales. He has not fought on pay-per-view, but what, once, twice? This man is going to be 30 years old, brothers and sisters. Just now getting on goddamn pay-per-view. So that the metrics say that people have not been galvanized enough to put their money towards their support for him. There is no track record of that, as opposed to his contemporaries, and most notably Devin, who is already proven to have people believe in him such that they will pay by the droves to see and support him with the dollar. Okay? The metrics speak for itself. We can look at social media appeal, right? And the galvanizing of audience engagement, so forth and so on a consistent basis. Outside of using the name Devin, how the fuck can we measure that? If he is constantly associating himself with Devin, therefore garnering levels of attention that come with saying Devin's name, what can this man do on his own? I know what Purple Pain can do on his own. I definitely know what DHP has done on their own. Where is Shakur? Where is the provability on his end? We need to see that. And this is not a slight to him. This is a charge to say, develop that, work on that, get off the fucking sassy horse and stand 10 toes like a fucking warrior for once and all, for all. Instead of hopping on a chatty patty train and clout riding the next man's name. Right? With this in view, brothers and sisters, we can see how being in association with DHP has been absolutely and remains absolutely central to the maintenance and buzz around the Shook One Stevenson, ladies and gentlemen. All right? That being said, I wouldn't hold too much of a gripe with that. Let's say of the, being in association with Devin. I wouldn't hold too much of a gripe for that, ladies and gentlemen. if he were actually about proving his supremacy in the ring with the young king, wouldn't mind it at all. I wouldn't be half as fiery, half as turned up if I knew that at the end of the day, this man was absolutely steadfast and dead ass about making this fight, not sitting on his goddamn laurels, getting a manicure, telling me what he don't gotta do. You understand? So that his actions are saying the very thing, that his words are saying. There he is cohesive. Oh, I don't need them. Oh, I'm making all the money I need to. I can fight anybody. And here are his actions saying the very thing, exhibiting the very thing that he has been saying at this particular point. At least there he is matching. In every other arena, he's a walking goddamn contradiction. Because up until recently, he has not been saying that. He's been saying that he wants legacy. He's been saying that he's the next Floyd Mayweather. He's been saying that he's the next Ray Robinson. He's been saying that he is the grass. He's been saying that he's the best. He's been saying that this is his era, this, that, and the third, and all the honeyed words that us boxing diehards want to hear and support and get behind. All the while, none of his actions were proving that. But I guess now finally that he signed a gargantuan deal with Zuffa, now he maybe feels comfortable enough to say the very thing that he should have said all along, which was that he had no intentions or no desire to fight the names that will make him an accredited fighter in this era. Okay? I wouldn't have too much of a problem if he actually had the intentions on fighting Devin. Closed mouths don't get fed, so I could have totally understood that. If you are in a competitive sport and a competitive field, it's totally understandable that you will call out the name of top predators, right? So that, in other words, it would not be clout chasing if he were honest about fighting the best, honest in his wanting to fight the best. Okay? Especially if you want to prove that you are the top dog. No problem in calling out the names of the top dogs, right? No issue whatever with that. So long as you are calling the names that you are trying to behead and snatch the crown from. That's the name of the game in competition. However, what Hot Girl Summer Stevenson has done is absolutely antithetical to that mindset and approach, brothers and sisters. The chatty patty chump ass energy has instead unrelentingly associated himself in proximity to Devin with no intention whatever of going to war with him. Tell me I'm fucking lying. And if he hasn't, why the fuck has he signed the bout agreement? If people want to assume that he's on this type of smoking that he wants to get with, why the hell has he signed the bout agreement, brothers and sisters? Why has he been sitting on it for months and still showing no intention of signing it? This motherfucker is on Twitter faster than he is showing a willingness to fight this man by signing a document. Why does Bill Haney have to chase you? Why does he have to count, the time ticking on his clock? Like, are you ready, nigga, or what? What is going on? If you want that smoke, child, you already know what that looks like on somebody who's not playing. All of this prolonging and stalling is because he does not want the smoke with DHP for whatever reason. Even though this fucking swindler, this fucking scammer, sure enough signed his name to sign that Zuffa deal. Right? He made no waste of signing the Zuffa deal, which was predicated upon him fighting Devin. So that he was alacritous about signing that deal and getting that money, all the while he had no intention of fighting Devin, brothers and sisters. That's why he only signed his Zuffa contract and not the bout agreement that would concretize and propel the fight forward and into motion. This is what is problematical. This is what I am constantly highlighting as it pertains to Shakur, the Shook One Stevenson. He wants no fucking smoke with DHP. This is why he in that old jive turkey have contrived all of the alibis one could muster up, all of the excuses and evasions within their baseless stipulations. The stipulations were nothing but blockades, brothers and sisters, nothing more than safeguards and intentional impasses placed in front of Devin so that he won't fight him. Anything that will divert a rational person from saying, wanting to say, okay, well, obviously you don't want the fight. This is it. Let me throw my hands up with this. This is why they were putting the impasses in place. Because anybody with intelligence will stop and say, nigga, I just agreed to this. Now I got to agree to this, and that. Hells no. But that was precisely why they put those impasses there, brothers and sisters, because they knew that at some point, any rational person is going to say, fuck you and your goddamn stipulations. Right? In other words, brothers and sisters, how many times can a person kick you in the shins before you slap the shit out of them? Or haul ass the fuck out of there, or kick them back, or whatever response it is that you are going to naturally have when somebody is doing that to you. So that to me, these bogus moves, these ridiculous demands that they have had on the table at the forefront all of this time, ladies and gentlemen, have been nothing more than a way to ward off DHP. None of this had to do with fighting him. It had every bit to do with garnering a level of visibility, and also, and at the top of the list, was to ward him off. Ward off having to compete with him by placing these impasses before him. That's why with every demand and stipulation, the more egregious and the more outrageous and bogus the claims behind them and justifications behind them became, right? And so they were able to do that, all the while putting these stipulations out there. They are making it, clear to a gullible public, oh no, I want the fight, when the reality is that it's a guise. It was a guise the whole time to make one assume that they want the fight, make one assume that if Devin said yes, that okay, now the ball's in motion, as we saw. Right? That was a guise the whole time. There was never an intention to fight Devin. Therefore, the constant backpedaling that subsequently followed all of that. They were never interested in making this fight. It was an absolute smokescreen, ladies and gentlemen, minus the real smoke that is. No smoke. They don't want the real smoke. Right? And they wanted to do it. They wanted to prolong and sustain that fruitless back and forth that they had with Devin, and that they try to continue embark upon with him in their association with his name. This is the objective. How can I sustain a lifeline from this is the motive and the focal point for these people. How can I sustain this? Because this is a lifeline for me. This is what breeds attention towards me. This is what gives me clicks and views. This is what gets me a like on Twitter, engagement on Twitter, so forth, etc. How can I sustain this? Because this is what keeps my name ringing, right? This is what galvanizes public discourse and interest around me. This is what gives them an opportunity to invest in me, because they are participating in the inanity. Even though it's inanity, even though it's, debauchery, right? People are still going to be galvanized around this, because what? At the end of the day, every real boxing fan, on whatever level you stand upon, wants to see Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson, regardless of your relationship to the fighters. You want to see this fight. Because as I posited many times before, it's the biggest fight in boxing. I make no bones about that. And never have. So that their goal was, how can I lengthen and protract this relationship as long as possible? How can I keep this lengthened with my association with DHP in a way that will keep me propped up among the boxing fanship? This is what he and that old jive turkey are thinking, right? It's nothing more than marketing. to maintain one's visibility. That's the goal. It has nothing to do with competitorship, warriorship, whatever. It's about visibility, exposure to a boxing public who you are trying to trick into believing that you will one day find the fucking balls to fight somebody. And particularly to fight Devin, when the reality is that you have no intention of doing so, but you're going to milk these people into thinking that by constantly keeping yourself in association with his name. Do you get me? It's crazy work. Clout chase 101, right? So that you are doing that, but simultaneously keeping yourself from having to live out that actual competition that the world is clamoring for. It's the most sucker, puss ass, fragile, epicene move that is occurring in boxing right now. Absolutely disgraceful on every level. But that is absolutely my posit to what is going on. All right. Let me check in with the good people before I move on, because there's definitely some other aspects that I want to get into with you, and some other details that I peeped throughout the week. I got a super chat. Infinite blessings too. The King Young World in the building. Thank you. Heavy with the love. I appreciate you. He says, class is always in session when the lovely goddess is cooking. Salute, Queen, and salute to the chat. Infinite blessings to you. I see my little Leo symbol. Are you a Leo as well? Infinite blessings to the King Young World in the building. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. You guys definitely make sure that you hit the like button, right? You're enjoying this cook. Definitely share it. Okay, and show some love in the super chat. Share the content. You know what I mean? I definitely appreciate the support for sure. Infinite peace to the people who came through. Oh my goodness, the great Mike is up in here. Salute to the great Mike, one of my original hitters, as I love to say every time I see him, because that is exactly what he is. 10 toes as always in the building. Salute to the great Mike. Lovely to see you. See some other people up in here. I'm just deaf. Salute to you. He says Devin is definitely the face of boxing. Absolutely. He is just that. Yes. I'm just deaf. I said deaf, but it's just DF. Shakur is definitely the biggest coward in boxing right now, and it's so unsightly. You know, somebody of his talent, somebody with the level of potentiality that he has, held, to many of us, it's disheartening to see him on this particular type of path, and this egotistical, arrogant, pompous posture that he's assumed is definitely unbecoming of him, for sure. Thank you, Dirt Gang, for reminding the good family. Definitely hit the like button. Salute to you. My sister says, cook, sis. I'm on the job. You already know. Isn't it ridiculous? Isn't it ridiculous, great Mike? What is going on with this man? What's going on? The King Snoopy says, I got 2 old Kmart cap guns pointed at him. He's cornered. Right. What's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, with this nonsense? What is going on with this nonsense? It's ridiculous to me. Yes, that's something that we could never unsee or unhear from this motherfucker. Oh, I loves Keyshawn with all my heart. Meanwhile, me, nigga, what? Yeah, that's what we were all thinking. That's what we still hold right now, in recollecting on that nonsense that he said. Salute to the King Bo Rice in the building. I see you, King. Lovely to see you. Salute to the King Mark Wunderlich. Infinite blessings to the King Mark, my good brother. Lovely to see you as always. John Martin, lovely to see you. He got his 9s. I see you, King. He says, salute, beautiful Queen Sugar Free Mars. Blessings to you. Salute to the King Joe. I'm always happy to see my family. Blessings to y'all. Okay, I went a ways up because I didn't know if I missed anyone. Salute to anyone I may have missed. But of course, as we continue to engage, if I see you, I'll shout you out. Shawnee, salute to Shawnee. Blessings. IFF in the building. Salute to you. He says, in the history of boxing, when you ever seen a boxer say he loves another boxer with all his heart? You can't make it up if you want. You can't write this in a script if you wanted to. If somebody gave you free reign to write any fiction that you wanted to, I don't think any logical person would even go that left in their mind to write something like that up. You just can't. You just can't make it up. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay? The King Slim says, amazing for years. Everybody had something to say about Devin, Shakur, Tio, Keyshawn, Tank, Rowley. The opportunity and money is here to prove the hate you had for him. Now everyone has cold feet. Could not have said it better, King Slim. This is the opportunity. And as we spoke about, when Devin first got announced the huge amount that was offered to him within his, agreement with Zuffa, that was the thing. It's like, okay, well, how can anybody turn this particular opportunity down, right? In fighting Devin, because not only was he getting paid huge amounts of money, but that Zuffa was showing by signing Devin, with such a huge deal that they were willing to pay in order to make the big fights that they want. They were willing to pay substantial amounts of money in order to support and assist and back a fight with Devin, right? And so in viewing the Shook One Stevenson having now officiated his contract with Zuffa, being paid substantial amounts of money himself, as you said, the fact that this is a chance to be paid more money than he could have ever dreamed of previously in previous years. He has the platform and the standing and the stature to be able to do that. Why wouldn't you want to make the biggest and best fights? And we're going to get into that aspect of money and its and the ratio of the money to the value of fights in just a moment. That's definitely something I'm going to tap into in just a second. Interesting point that you raised, and I definitely have the same questions, and I made a notation of it to discuss with y'all as well, right? But you definitely on to what I was on to, King. Salute to the King Freedom, aka my counterpart in the building. Blessings to you. Oh my goodness, we got the King Stay Dangerous up in here. Salute to the King Stay. Lovely to see you, King. Yes, we got the King Mook. Okay, good family. The Kings are rolling up in here. Big energy stepping. Okay, salute to the King Mook. Salute to the village brother up in here also. 10 toes with the love. Okay, TC Frank is up here. Okay, y'all, don't be having the goddess blushing up in here now. Salute to the Kings, my good brothers up in here with that wonderful energy and support. Right? Come chop it up, because we try to really unpack some layers here. And of course, I would love to get your thoughts in the chat, good family. Okay, so now let's get to this. Let me take a sip of water. Hold on. Okay, because we gonna get into some things, good people. We definitely gonna get into some more things. Now, let's get into the lie, shall we? Let's get into the lie and the mythology around this supposed 180-pound giant that the young king allegedly is, brothers and sisters. Can we tap into that? Do you guys mind? You guys mind? I know my good family doesn't mind. Let's divulge this. Let's unpack this. Yes? This 180-pound myth, brothers and sisters, that the young king absolutely demolished, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely demolished over the past few days. Now, excuse me, among the proliferation of ridiculous antics and buffoonery that was already being exhibited by the snatched waist god Stevenson, the sassy, oh, I'm so tight Stevenson, this chump felt it necessary, even despite all of the already ongoing inanity and folly. Okay? He felt it necessary still to expound upon and further elaborate on the nonsense, brothers and sisters, over the past few days, as I'm sure my good brothers and sisters have seen across social media, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's tap in. Now, the young king grew tired of the unrelenting tropes that have been ongoing concerning and surrounding his weight. And I posit that this has been an ongoing theme, okay, ever since he conquered Lomachenko. This is really where it took shape. This is really where the basis of this particular trope took root, brothers and sisters. This alleged mammoth mythology. Oh, you're big, you're big, you're big. You won because you're big. You only fight fighters because you are bigger than them, etc. and so forth. Right? So it is there. That's where we saw that this theme really took root and had a basis of formation within that period of time during his conquering of Lomachenko in that particular fight. This is really where we began to hear these themes proliferate, right? This is really where we begin to see them being used as a tool, ladies and gentlemen, to detract, for the purpose of detracting from the status that Devin was amassing for himself at that particular time, having been undisputed, having defended undisputed twice at that particular point. Yes? So that additionally, what's interesting in this is that it was at this time that the Snatch Waist King Stevenson began to assume himself a public stature that expressed that disposition. Ladies and gentlemen, this whole notion of Devin is too big, this is where he avouched those sentiments, ladies and gentlemen, at this time during Devin Haney's conquering and beheading of Lomachenko. We saw E.T. Stevenson posit that he thought that Loma had won the fight. And not only that, he expressed and stressed that he only believed the young king had won because he was what? Bigger than Loma. You guys recall this. Go ahead and tap into your brain computer. Go ahead and recollect on that, ladies and gentlemen. This is what he said at that particular time, on record. Not only did he think that Loma won, oh yeah, he only won because he knew Loma was the smaller man, etc. and so forth. You remember? Hence the weight bully trope being supported and fully backed by the Snatch Waist Stevenson. So that, brothers and sisters, we see the seed of that mentality having took root at that time, and we see the residual of those roots in that perspective very much alive and kicking today. Okay? We see how since then, the Shook One Stevenson has been using it as a justification to what? Not fight Devin. He has been using it as a justification to not fight him. This alleged size, this alleged, being a mammoth of a man. Here we are 3 years removed from that Lomachenko victory that Devin amassed and claimed for himself. 3 years later, brothers and sisters, and the snatched one is once again waving the same counterfeit claims around. Same shit. In effort to dissuade from the same smoke with Devin. None of this is coincidental. None of it is new, ladies and gentlemen. So that when the young king posted on his social media account, ladies and gentlemen, okay, just as he always does from time to time, he'll post, little posts of him in the gym, right? He'll post his little goings on. That he's in the lab working, so forth, etc. That's what the young king does, right? So a few days ago, he took to his social and he did what he does from time to time. Posted some footage of himself getting it popping, getting it busy on the heavy bag and looking absolutely amazing while doing so. Okay, he was at the top ranked gym, looking absolutely amazing, sharp on that heavy bag. Those hits, those punches sounded like thunder in that damn gym from those hits that he was giving. Beautiful work on the heavy bag, right? And he just gave us a little taste, a little snippet, barely a minute long in that footage. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me why the snatch waist god felt the need. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about sassy. You tell me why the sassy snatch waist demon felt the need to leave the sassiest comment ever on this man's post. Nobody's talking to your ass. Nobody's looking for your ass. This is for his people. This is for the people to see, hey, I'm out here working. I'm saying work never stops. Grind never stops. DHP is always working, always with it, always in shape, always ready, right? This sassy nigga left a comment on the Young King's post saying something to the degree of, get this, brothers and sisters. Oh, cuz is 180. Cuz is 180, y'all. It don't matter though, cuz I'm him. I'm him. Do you see this? Do you see this, brothers and sisters? I'm him. So that he's 180 pounds. But it don't matter because I'm him. Do you hear this lame ass, sucker ass, soft ass, puss ass shit? Brothers and sisters, excuse me, what the fuck does he mean? Oh, cuz is 180, but it's whatever because, I'm like that. I'm Himothy. You get me? If you're him, why the hell does the sassy demon, the shooketh one Stevenson, feel the need in any way, shape, or fashion to harp on Devin's size? What would be the point of saying that you're Himothy and singling out this man's size as if that would be a problem for somebody who is Himothy to begin with? If you can beat somebody as easily as you think you can or postulate that you can because you are him, why the fuck harp on this man's size? Mind you, this is the very man that says, oh, you can hydrate up to 100 and goddamn 11,000 pounds if you want to. Don't matter because what? Skills pay the bills now, you hear? Well, if skills pay the motherfucking bills, why the hell are you talking about cuz is 180? What would be the point of even highlighting that at all? Brothers and sisters, suffice it to say that it's a size that you are absolutely and totally wrong on to begin with, right? But why make his size at all a focal point if you're him is the larger point that I'm making. So that when I tell you, I'm going to get into a little segment in just a moment, right? When I get into highlighting that the intimidation factor that these people feel when it comes to Devin has nothing to do at all with weight as far as pounds, and everything instead to do with the weight of character, weight of skill set and ability, and their fear of competing with that skill set and ability on the part of the young king. Then you will begin to have a sense of coherence as to the point that I will make plainly for you guys in just a second. Hold on to that thought. We'll get into that in just a moment. But anyway, isn't it crazy that the man who has never once in his career, ladies and gentlemen, missed weight, never in his career has the young King Devin missed weight, brothers and sisters? How is it that he, the consummate professional, is being accused constantly and for years on end of being a quote unquote weight bully? What is the rationale behind this logic, good people? Especially considering that the ones who are posturing this lie, these falsities, the mythology around his weight, the ones who are doing the pointing of fingers are the fucking very ones who have fumbled and failed and blundered making weight on the scales. How are they pointing the accusatory finger at Devin? Can somebody explicate that to me? This is precisely why I have the young king on your screen pointing back at them. How dare these fucking chumps? How dare these suckers? Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. Oh, Devin is 180 pounds. Absolute juvenility. Childishness. Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. Oh, look at Devin. Oh, yeah, you in a heavy bag because they so fucking scared of him. They will make up any type of rationale that will support and justify their cowardice and their fear of competition with that man. Oh, he's 1,180 pounds now, yeah. Oh, look how big he is. Any lie that they can think up. Because they are scared to death of the young king. That's what is going on. Make it make sense, people. The people who have fumbled on the scales, showed a total disregard and lack of professionalism by missing weight, are the ones pointing the finger. Brothers and sisters, as much as the shook one, snatch waist goddamn Stevenson wants to proclaim that he's got the most, tightest and tiniest, and I'm so delicious. My waist is so small and sutured. I got the tightest little waist in all of boxing. As much as he wants to proclaim that, brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? He fucking missed weight and subsequently dropped his belts as a result of having missed weight on the scales at 130, brothers and sisters. So that Shakur Stevenson has a history documented of having missed weight in his career, ladies and gentlemen. This is the nigga that is pointing a sassy finger at Devin. The man who has never missed weight in the entirety of his professional career. Math ain't mathin', y'all. Math ain't mathin'. Computer ain't goddamn computing. And it never will. But this is the nonsensical tirade that this man has been on. These are the outputs of expression that this man exhibits constantly because he cannot compete where he cannot compare. What are we doing? What are we even talking about? What the fuck? Does Shakur hit the pipe? Does this man hit the pipe before he gets on there and start tweeting with his fucking pinky fingers up, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on? Absolutely ridiculous. How is the nigger who lacked every ounce of professionalism and upright sportsmanship delusional and confident enough in that delusion to turn to the consummate professional in the young King Devin, the king of the sport, brothers and sisters, and speak to him in any capacity about weight when he fucking missed weight? Oh yeah, it's that type of day. I'm turned all the way to fuck up, brothers and sisters. The sassy shit is diabolical to me. Absolutely unexpected and intolerable over here. Now, this is the part that many who willfully choose to be blind to reality fail to comprehend themselves in the extended boxing community. As we know, brothers and sisters, we come across these deluded, demented people all the time. This is what they don't want to recognize and acknowledge, that Shakur Stevenson has indeed and in fact missed weight. Therefore, can be easily considered a weight bully as a result. Subsequently, good people, the young king, after posting that footage of him in the gym, the young king took a simple but significant measure to counteract all the fuckery that was going on in the comment section, right? And particularly to address the shook one Stevenson in that ridiculous, sassy ass comment that he left, right? So the young king took a significant measure. It was a simple measure, but a significant one in his response to the foolishness. And he completely, in that simple move that he made, obliterated, absolutely demolished in one swoop the folly that the shook one Stevenson and so many other buffoons so desperately, try to cling to and push out in the comment section. Now, the young king posted a clip of himself standing on a scale, ladies and gentlemen, to show his detractors, his naysayers, and most definitely the chatty patty hot girl Summer Stevenson, that he is nowhere near the weight that they have accused him of weighing, ladies and gentlemen. Simple as that. Oh, I'm gonna show y'all. Oh, y'all think you think you're cute? Oh, really? You saying I'm 180, I'm 200 pounds, I'm this fucking gigantic ass. Okay, here you go. Shut the fuck up. Right? This is the young king. Absolutely quelled in 1 fucking millisecond all that chatty patty shit that was going on. Okay? Here, I am nowhere near what you are talking about. Brothers and sisters, as many of you may recall, this is just a side note that I felt necessary to also posit here. As many of you may recall, brothers and sisters, I met the young king last year when I went to the fight call with the Drew Titan, the good brother Drew Titan, of course, my beautiful king BFTB. Okay, I was at the fight party with my people. Okay, I saw and met Devin personally. I stood next to that man. Many of you may recall, I even took a photo with him that I had shared. Okay, the young king is not that much bigger than me, brothers and sisters. That's no goddamn cap. He's not much bigger than me. That is not an exaggeration at all when I say that, ladies and gentlemen. Some of y'all have seen the photo. Okay? Young King is nowhere near this Goliath that they so desperately want to paint him to be. It's absolutely laughable, ladies and gentlemen. Laughable. I saw this man with my own goddamn eyes. I stood next to him. I talked to him. I said, what's up to him? I took a photo with him, etc. Seen this man walking up and down, talking to everybody in the goddamn room, etc. Who is this Goliath that they are trying to paint him to be, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. Do I have the footage of him getting on the scale, brothers and sisters? Hold on. Well, it's pretty much the graphic that I have up here. But I want to get the actual video. Yes, I do have it. Hold on. Let me get the actual video for you guys of the one that he had posted.
Shout out to all the weight.
Steph. This is Dev on the scales. This is the video that he posted on Instagram.
Shout out to all the weight police out there.
That's Devin. Now, I'd like us to get into a bit of psychology here as you guys take a gander at your screen and digest that, process that. I'd like us to get into a bit of the psychology for a moment, right? Because remember just a bit ago, I told you that there are some layers that I was going to divulge concerning the whole idea and notion of the weight. And what they really mean by weight is not necessarily the pounds that they are worried about with Devin, but the weight of character and stature and ability of Devin. Let me break that down for the good family, because this is really the underlying psychology of it all, from my point of view. This notion of quote unquote Devin being too big really seems to be hitting on something else entirely, in addition to what the main context wants to present to you, right? That these people, the topical surface that these people want to push to you concerning and surrounding his weight. There is always a subterranean level at work, ladies and gentlemen, in everything that somebody says, right? There is always a covert that aspects the overt, if you get my drift. Yeah? So that the overt is what is being said on the surface. Oh, Devin's too big. He's a weight bully, blah, 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 so forth, etc. The covert aspect of the perspective, ladies and gentlemen, is where the intention lies, is where the psychology of it lies, is where the root of what they are really signaling lies, the subtext, so to speak, right? The obsession that the people who are pushing and propelling this propaganda about Devin's size is twofold, in other words. Now, to me, it is absolutely evident that what they are inadvertently admitting when they harp on and obsess over this man's size is that they are intimidated by his stature in boxing. His stature in boxing. is what they are intimidated by. And they substituted and supplanted the aspect of what's really going on as far as their fear of his stature, his intimidation in his stature. And they supplanted it with the idea of pounds. But that is a guise. The excuse of pounds is a guise for the real culprit, which is stature. That's what they are intimidated by when it comes to DHP, brothers and sisters. His size is the factor only as it pertains to his prominence. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with me now. His size is the issue, yes. But the psychology is saying what is not being outrightly said. The psychology of it is that they are afraid of his size in prominence in the sport, his presence in the sport, his sovereignty in the sport, the space that he is assuming in the sport, brothers and sisters. That is the fear. That is what they are harping on. Has nothing to do with his pounds, brothers and sisters, because the man, as I said, is not that much bigger than me. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. There is no other fighter in boxing who is so constantly surrounded by notions and accusations of being a weight bully more than the young King Devin in this current landscape. No other fighter in boxing, not even the motherfucking Jolly Green Giant, Sebastian Fundora. Let that bitch breathe. Let that bitch breathe, brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Let it really resonate and permeate within your understanding. A man that stands 6'7", 6'9", or something like that. Sebastian Fundora. A man that stands as tall, ladies and gentlemen, as Anthony Joshua, two-time heavyweight champion. A man that stands as tall as Deontay Wilder, one of the best fighters in the heavyweight division in the history of heavyweights. Tyson Fury, one of the most acclaimed heavyweights, the tallest man possibly in boxing. This man is as tall as these niggas. That's how tall Sebastian Fundora stands. He is taller, in fact, than Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. I think he's of the same height as Tyson Fury, who's like 2 inches taller than them. 6'7", 6'9", something like that. Because I know Josh is 6'6". And Wilder maybe like 6'6", 6'7", something like that. This is fucking Fundora, brothers and sisters. Sebastian Fundora isn't lambasted, censured, and reproached or criticized at all for fighting at 154 pounds, brothers and sisters. But Devin Haney is lambasted and censured? Talk to me, good people. Say something now. Do you get me? Now, I don't like to assume, brothers and sisters, I'm going to keep it a buck, because as a boxing diehard, I tend to approach boxing fans like myself as having, a belief that they have an understanding of the sport, so that I don't like to outrightly assume in any way or have a pretext, about the mentality or the fan that I see across social media. I wait to be proven to, in other words. I don't really have a cloak or a jacket that I throw on people, right? I let you tell me who you are, and then I go on from there, right? With how I deal with you, right? So I don't like to assume readily that the extended part of the boxing community is walking around on this type of imbecilic type of time, ladies and gentlemen. But real talk. I am forced to question upon observing all of the things that have been going on, as far as the mentality of these fans who just suck up and sop up every bit of the inanity that they are force-fed, and who like to regurgitate the inanity at every goddamn turn, I am forced then to question the level of intelligence and cognizance when I see that these people are indulging. There is an indulgence in the acceptance of this futility and absurdity, that these people can outrightly say, oh, Devin is this, Devin is that, Devin is 180 pounds, but don't give a fuck about the motherfucker who stands 6'9", fighting at 180, and don't even have it in their minds to even perceive Sebastian Fondora as a weight bully. Doesn't even cross their minds, brothers and sisters. But we'll, at the drop of a dime, haul ass into the center of a conversation, ass first, talking about how Devin is a weight bully, ladies and gentlemen, all because they were told. It's just absolutely ridiculous to me. Anyway, getting back to the focal point, ladies and gentlemen, about Devin posting this clip on his social media. Young King showed himself on the scale, as you see on your screen, right? And if you guys peeped it, right, I don't think I can zoom into that, but what Devin weighed was a mere 159 pounds, brothers and sisters. That's all that this man weighed at the time of this video, which was only, 3 days ago or something like that? A few days ago. Ladies and gentlemen, the Young King is only 12 pounds removed from the weight class he fights within. But according to these fucking suckers, Devin is a goddamn light heavyweight out this piece. Devin might as well go up there and try to get it popping with Usyk at this particular point in the minds of these lames. Right? And so the Young King absolutely dispels, absolutely obliterates the mythology that they have created, the lies, all the falsities surrounding him being near 200 goddamn pounds. In a fraction of a second, all of the ridiculous accusations, all of the imbecilic claims and attempts to detract were completely shattered by the Young King with this post that he made on your screen. Absolutely crashed and burned those notions. Now, in viewing this, ladies and gentlemen, the snatch waist god, okay, the sassy, oh, I'm so tight demon, the shook one Stevenson, decided yet again, to chime in, right, on this post. But this time, he is trying to lick his wounds and save face by responding on Devin's post, saying one of the most ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, fraud-ass, nonsensical cop-outs that I have ever witnessed, ladies and gentlemen. I think I have a receipt for you. Hold on. Hold on. This is beautiful. This is the Young King Devin, right? So that the little video is what he posted on his Instagram. I got this from his Instagram.
Shout out to all the weight police out there.
Also took to Twitter and made this post and followed it up with 2 photos. This is Young King. This is Young King's caption to him sharing this very video on Twitter. Young King says, to all the weight police, fuck you. That's the little middle finger emoji. F y'all, right? I live a clean lifestyle and have the best nutritionist, James Lockwood, in the game. Never missed weight. I am a true professional. That's the Young King, brothers and sisters. Making it plain. And do you know what the sassy weight demon, Shakur Stevenson, posited in viewing this? I'll show you. This is what he said, brothers and sisters. Take a gander at your screen, good people. Right? Beautiful people. This man said, Broski did the weight challenge a month later. 16 more to go, champ. Let's get it. 16 more pounds, I guess, is what he's talking about to get down to the 144. Did you hear that? Let me run it back for the good people, and you read it back as I go. Broski did the weight challenge a month later. So the sassy snatch waist goddamn challenge, ladies and gentlemen. 16 more to go. This is the sassy nigga's response to that. It gets worse, ladies and gentlemen. It definitely gets worse. Okay? So let me get this receipt for y'all. The Young King says the following in response to the Shook One Stevenson. Young King says, but 2 days ago, 2 days ago, you said I was 180. So how was I in the tub for a month? I mean, brothers and sisters, I'm laughing because it's so absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. This man, Shakur, is a fucking imbecile, brothers and sisters. Absolute fucking imbecile. Young King said 2 days ago, you said I was 180. How the hell could I have sat in a goddamn bathtub for a month to prepare for this when you just said this shit 2 goddamn days ago, ladies and gentlemen? You just can't make this up. You can't make this up. The Young King continues, good people. He says, I told you 144 was good. You went missing. Came back days later with the weight challenge. Knock it off. Knock it the fuck off. And I absolutely concur with the Young King. Do you guys hear this? I was absolutely and totally astounded in seeing this on Twitter over the when it happened a few days ago, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely astounded. Now, Shakur, the Shook One, I'm so snatch Stevenson, okay, is accusing Devin of having been soaking in a tub. Oh my God. A tub, ladies and gentlemen, for an entire month straight. When just 2 days or a day before, he made the accusation of being 180 pounds. 2 days prior. Barely 2 days prior. But now Devin was sitting in a goddamn whole bath for a whole month to get ready for the Sassy Snatch Waist Challenge. A whole month straight now in preparation for this. In preparation for the premonition that he had that Shakur Stevenson would accuse him of being 180 pounds. So Devin Haney is fucking Miss Cleo out here. Oh, let me go ahead and take this whole bath. Let me sit, as tight as I can in this whole bath, in the Sassy Snatch Waist bath, flat tummy tea bath, because I have a premonition that E.T. Stevenson is going to phone home and call me 180 pounds. So let me prepare a month in advance for some shit that didn't even fucking happen yet. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Do you understand how ridiculous this is? Just to partake in the Snatch Waist Challenge. I mean, I don't know if you guys feel that your intelligence, okay, has been outrightly insulted by Shakur Stevenson. But I sure as hell feel that this chump is unabashedly disrespecting my motherfucking intelligence as a boxing diehard with this shit. What? What? Do you guys see what is on your screen? So, just to appease the Shook One Stevenson Sassy Waist Challenge proposal, Devin would go out of his way to relegate himself to a bath for a month straight, sit in a whole bath with a whole bunch of whole juice so that he can get the snatch waist, the tiny sugar-free waist, so that he can then prove to E.T. Stevenson that he is also snatched and tight and tiny. Also that he could assuage Shakur Stevenson's proposition. Also that he can pacify the sassy demon Shakur. What? At this point, brothers and sisters, I posit that, it's well beyond an inflated sense of entitlement from the Shook One Stevenson at this point, brothers and sisters. At this particular juncture, this shit has reached the level of psychosis. Shakur Stevenson lost his ever goddamn loving mind. He lost his goddamn mind, brothers and sisters. He's reached the point of psychosis at this point. What is going on? The dement is unreal. I'm worried about him. I'm absolutely worried about him. It really is baffling, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make it up. The logic ain't logicking. Logic has left and exited the building, brothers and sisters. Never to be seen again. No logic to be found. This is crazy. And you know what? Devin's response to that was totally illuminating of how bizarre and imbecilic in nature this man's comment was. Let me show you the Young King's response to this. Look at your screen, brothers and sisters. Okay? Hold on. Let me get, was it this one? It's this one. This is Shakur's response. I think I said Devin's. He highlighted how ridiculous that was. This is Shakur's response to that. Look how ridiculous this is. Shakur responds, nah, the 180 was troll. Let's just stop there, ladies and gentlemen. So now he is having to save face because he knows how absolutely ridiculous he sounded in the previous statement that Devin absolutely flattened his ass on. You said I was 180 2 goddamn days ago. What the fuck you mean I'm sitting in the whole bath for a month? What the hell are you talking about? So now here comes Shakur, tucking tails, trying to save face and making it seem, oh, I'm just kidding because all the cowards do that. Oh, I'm just playing because they can't stand on what the fuck they said and they're too embarrassed about how imbecilic the statement was. You find that often with cowardly energy. Here Shakur is exhibiting that. Oh, now the 180 was troll. You know I'm a real nigga. But keep it being. You flew your nutritionist in when you seen us do the weight challenge. And 144, still good. What you talking about? This nigga is absolutely diabolical, y'all. So Devin Haney flew in his nutritionist when he put out the call, the sassy signal for the Sassy Snatch Waist Challenge. That's when the Young King called his nutritionist in a month ago. Do you see? You know, because once you spin a fucked up lie, you got to keep spinning in that shit. So that one fucked up lie begets another fucked up lie, and so forth, etc., ladies and gentlemen. He had to find some type of way to spin another goddamn farce. What is going on? Except an absolute show of imbecility on the part of the Shook One Snatch Waist Stevenson. What is going on? It does not make sense, ladies and gentlemen. One diabolical lie after another diabolical lie after another diabolical lie. What is going on? So that he cannot even keep up with his own inanity. You just can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? How the hell could Devin have soaked in a whole bath? A tight tummy, snatch waist bath for a month straight to drop weight if only a day or two before this man accused him of being 180 pounds? He knew he done fucked up with that nonsense when the Young King called him out. And I'm glad that the Young King didn't let up on that ass. Read his ass for filth. Is anybody else's math not mathing? Because it's not going to math for any logical or sane person. Moreover, brothers and sisters, is this sucker, is this Mark, is this sassy ass chump, Hot Girl Summer Stevenson, I don't know, does he suffer from selective amnesia or something like that? Is he forgetting that the Young King Devin absolutely agreed absolutely consented and obliged. The 144 stipulation? Why would he even need to participate in a sassy snatch waist challenge when he already agreed 2 months ago to fight you at 144? I think I mentioned that earlier. But because you threw an unfounded, accusatory statement at the young king about his weight that was absolutely and utterly false, and he proved your ass and every other detractor wrong when he got on the scales. This is why the shook one Stevenson tried to throw out more lies to cover the inanity and the bullshit that he was already on. This is the very reason why the young king got on the scale, to shut up all the fuck narratives, as my beautiful King BF would say. All of the nonsensical narratives. It's absolutely bizarre at best, ladies and gentlemen. Young King Devin is only 12 pounds from his weight class, as evinced in his video. He is not a light heavyweight, has never been a light heavyweight or anything close to that. Absolutely nowhere near that. And these suckers have been made an absolute fool of by the young king, because they have been so insistent upon attempting to lambaste and reproach him, because they are too chump, too cowardly to compete with him on equal terms. That is why I brought in, right, the notion that they are equating the pounds, with really, instead of it being pounds, what these people are afraid of with Devin is how he, his weight in stature, not in pounds, ladies and gentlemen, in stature. They fear the weight of his stature, the weight and severity of his ability as an athlete. That is what they fear. But they use the guise of pounds to cover that. Okay? Now, and if you think about it, beautiful people, it's no different from what racist Riri did. Let's think about this. This mentality of fearing the stature and accreditation and skill set of Devin Haney is the same thing, same mentality that we saw evinced in the behavior and in the actions of racist Riri. Okay? No different when we juxtapose the two, when we hold them up and do a compare. Just to step in the ring with him, something has to be made deficient on Devin as far as the public's perception of the young king. Do you get me? Stay with me, brothers and sisters. Right? Because when we look at this, it's very interesting. They have to make the young king deficient in some way in order to compete with him. Some type of compromising of him has to be put in place. That's what racist Riri did he not? Racist Riri used drugs in addition to coming in 3 or so pounds overweight when he was scheduled to fight the young king back in April of 24, brothers and sisters. Riri the racist used drugs to get the edge over Devin. Right? In the case of E.T. Stevenson, Snatch Waist Stevenson, oh, I'm so tight Stevenson, right? He is using the stipulation of weight, bringing him down in weight as the thing to compromise Devin. He is additionally using the aspect of demanding that he vacate his championship status as well. That is another angle at attempting to diminish the playing field for Devin. Do you guys get where I'm coming from? I know the good family feel me on this. Okay? But the objective is the same, even though Shakur Stevenson, as far as we know, is not using any drugs or anything like that, right? And I wouldn't ever put the jacket on the young Shakur Stevenson, right? But the objective is the same. Devin has to be compromised in some way. We have to look at an angle on how best we can diminish him on this chessboard. How can we get a compromised version of him. Whether we got to come in drug cheating on some racist Riri shit, or whether we got to make outlandish, ridiculous stipulations on him to drop his weight or to drop his championship status, so forth, etc. You guys get where I'm coming from. The objective remains the same, ladies and gentlemen. Devin ought to be compromised by these suckers. This is the mentality of these puss-ass suckers. The mentality remains across the board, brothers and sisters. Right? So that in viewing the young king on the scales and him proving all of these lame suckers totally wrong, right? Tell me again where the young king is this enormous, immense mammoth of a man after having dispelled all of that rhetoric about him. Where is he, this huge ass man? And as I told you, I met this beautiful brother in person last year. Okay? At his fight party with my beautiful King BF and Drew. Not much bigger than me. Here it is on footage, on camera. He took footage for y'all to see. Where is he, this huge ass man? So that all of the narratives, like I said, have been absolutely shattered as far as his weight on the scales. Now, the myth has been absolutely quelled, brothers and sisters. Are there any fucking further questions? Anything else, ladies and gentlemen, surrounding this man's weight that can be said after seeing this man on the scales for yourselves? Right? I know my good family has no questions, but these sassy niggas, any other questions they're going to come up with here? I'm sure they will move the goalposts or find a way to. Right? But instead of calling attention to the weight, as far as pounds, I'd rather bring into visibility, like I posited earlier, that the real fear, the real intimidation factor that these people have, right, of the young king is that this is being viewed from the point of, as far as him being a mammoth, a big man, this is pertaining to his stature and credence in the sport. That's the psychology underneath the surface. That's what's talking, ladies and gentlemen. Is that they fear his stature and weight in boxing. Right? They don't want to see a claim and quest for his supremacy in boxing. And how, that is what is the ultimate threat to cowards like the Snatch Waist Stevenson, Hot Girl Summer Stevenson. That is what is threatening to that old slick beard jive turkey that manages him. That is what is intimidating by all of these suits who have been conspiring against DHP and their movements all of this time, as we have witnessed, as those who support him vehemently and staunchly. That is the crux of the matter. Those who desperately want to protect their interests because they think that DHP's ventures are a threat to their interests because of his sovereignty. His sovereignty is the threat. That's the weight that they are talking about. His stature, his presence. Okay? So that all of the conniving, propaganda-fueled boxing conspirators who can't stand to see the mobility and progress of Black independent sovereignty, they can't stand to see the mobility of DHP for that reason, because DHP represents that unapologetically, brothers and sisters. Independence and sovereignty of one's own interests. One's own interests. That's a very powerful position that we can't take lightly in viewing this man in his quest for legacy within boxing. He has a very powerful position. And the most intimidating factor about it is that he and the great legendary Trill Bill know that they hold a powerful position. They know that. Right? That's the most dangerous thing of all. Their cognizance, their consciousness of the position that they hold. That's the threat. That is what holds weight, ladies and gentlemen, not the pounds. Right? Let me check in with the good people, because I know I've been kind of gabbing and going on for a little bit. Let me tap in. Let me tap in with the good family. Salute to anybody I may have missed. I know I was going on and on and on for a little bit, I get passionate, as you guys know, and I just gotta, you know what I mean? Let it out as raw as possible. Yes. The Mama Love says, Shakur has robbed me of time and patience. He's the greatest of thieves. Oh my goodness, Mama Love. That's exactly how I feel too. That's exactly how I feel too. And I think it really is the basis of why my lamentations are so heavy as it pertains to him. Because as you all know, I've made it clear several times, you know what I mean? And for the real ones who are you know, a part of the family here, know that I have for a very long time been an avid supporter of Shakur Stevenson. I've only recently rescinded my support of him because of his moves. But because I had for so long a time been a supporter of him, that is really is the root of my disappointment. Is because I have been so staunchly a supporter of his. That is why I am so deeply disappointed in him. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's very disheartening to watch because I expected better, and that's not saying enough, right? I expected his supremacy. I expected his you know, respect for the sport. I expected his respect for the fanship, you know, who wants to see him go out there and get it popping with the best and stuff like that, right? But apparently he has no interest in doing that. His only interest is visibility and remaining in proximity to whatever relevance by association with what he it's a fake and contrived notion of legacy, right? So that he's been saying legacy, 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 legacy all this time, but his moves have been absolutely antithetical to that. Running away from the best is not a goddamn quest for legacy. You understand? So that it's you know, I know a lot of people think that you know, people who are staunch supporters of you know, DHP and you know, people who we find to be upright in boxing, whoever you may like, right? Because our likes vary, right, among us. But I use Devin as the example because, as I've always posited, I think that he is the standard, you know, in boxing as far as um, it's his skill set that I believe in, but it's also above all the principle that he and the legendary Trill stand upon that they have built. You know what I'm saying? Like it's bigger than boxing for the reason why I'm a staunch supporter of him. You understand? Yes, they spoke about legacy, but they've also enacted, you know, the claiming and assuming of legacy. You know what I'm saying? They are the only ones of their contemporaries that became undisputed. You know what I'm saying? They are the only ones that made all types of moves to fight the best. They are the only ones, as the beautiful King BF broke down, you know, on the pound for pound list. And I'm talking about out of all the 10 on the pound for pound list, the Young King is the only one, you know, who fought 4 lineal ranked #1 fighters among everybody on the pound for pound list, the current pound for pound list. I'm talking about your Usyks, your Inoues, your Devin is the only one who fought 4 lineally ranked #1 fighters. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, we can go on and on as far as the accreditation, right? That will speak for itself. But in addition to that, it's the principles that support them embarking on these moves as the reason why I am so staunchly in support of their ventures. You know what I mean? And so I encourage that. I would like to encourage that in other fighters. I would hope that E.T. Stevenson would be charged by these types of things. But instead, he takes a sassy ass approach to it because he does not like critique or criticism, from what it seems to me. Right? And of course, as many of you have peeped and observed for yourselves. Right? It's very interesting. Very interesting stuff, but I agree with you totally, Mama Love. The twin says Shakur has some some form of CTE. I'm convinced. I told you that man done bumped his head. You know what I mean? Lost his mind somewhere along the way. Somewhere along the way, right? I don't wish that upon that man, but something, whatever's going on with his mentality, needs to be checked out. That's for sure, right? Oh my goodness, is this the Young King? Is this the Young King in the building? Hold on. Hold on, because if it is, you will be getting a wrench, sir. Did you just saunter your little way up in here? Hold on. How do I go to my? I have to go to my YouTube to do this because if this is Young King, he has to get wrenched up ASAP. Hold on. Let me go to live because I'm on the StreamYard, brothers and sisters. Let me go into the live. No, it's not for kids. No thanks. Hold on. I'm on the StreamYard. Hold on, you guys. Let me make sure who this is. This is Young King, you guys. Salute to the Young King, Devin, DHP, over everybody who decided to join us in the building today. You will absolutely be made a mod on this side, Young King. Okay? No question about it. You are absolutely a managing mod. I gave you a super wrench, Young King. Infinite blessings to you. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the follow on Twitter if you are still here. I just gave you a wrench, right? So that if you decide to ever come back and show love over here, you are a super wrench. Okay? Infinite blessings to you. I'm so thankful to have you in the building, right? You already know I don't play about DHP. Continue doing the wonderful work that you do on your end, King, and you will 1000% have me 10 toes standing beside you because I support elite Black warriorship. I support Black excellence. And you absolutely represent that, for us boxing diehards who, are really adamant and passionate about this sport. Thank you so much for joining, King. Definitely honored. Definitely honored. I'm really trying to keep it cool right now, y'all. But yeah, infinite blessings to the Young King and salute to all of DHP, the legendary Trill, and everybody on the team. Thank you so much for stopping by. Can't say that enough, you guys. Definitely show love to the Young King. Beautiful people in the building. Throw some nines in the chat. Throw some king emojis, some crown emojis in the chat for the Young King Devin, who blessed us today, you guys. Salute to DHP. All right. Now, there's another avenue I wanted to go to and speak on that I found to be very interesting, you guys. I guess another point that I wanted to make before I touch on the last subject, because the last subject is pretty interesting, right? Just give me a moment. We're going to get there. It's actually surrounding, I spoke about racist Riri. It's touching on racist Riri. And as far as like the reception that's given to him in boxing, I think this is a paramount point for us to discuss. That's why I chose to have it the last point that I discussed today, just to kind of like really, hone in on it. So just give me a moment. I'm definitely going to touch on that. But just to round this segment out and close this particular segment out, in observing the matters, surrounding the ordeal with Snatch Waist Damn Stevenson, I couldn't help but survey how Shakur isn't really, because my mama love kind of brought this to the forefront in my mind as well, about it being a disappointment and her feeling kind of disheartened by it and me agreeing with that. And I'm like, he doesn't have really the luxury to be acting on or embarking on this particular road. Do you get me? Because when we look back at it, ladies and gentlemen, okay, Shakur is not drenched in as many opportunities as he may assume. You get me? So that the way he is moving, brothers and sisters, you would think all of the luxury, all of the roses, all of the honey, all of the red wine is at his disposal, the way this man is behaving. But in fact, it's the opposite that seems to be the case. He seems to have a very limited, access to the field. Do you get what I'm saying? Unlike, let me just bring this to the forefront. In my view, Young King is at the point in the boxing world where he has myriad choices in front of him at this particular point to indulge in, brothers and sisters. Okay? And what I mean by that is, if we want to look at it from the gauge and the range of networks, he has options to choose from. Okay. Who are interested in him at this particular point, right? So from what the King BF divulged to us yesterday, there are myriad choices in front of him now, right? So that not only as far as his accessibility to networks and such and so forth, but opponent selection as well. Hot Girl Summer Stevenson does not have anywhere near the level of accessibility in front of him, brothers and sisters. He's got, this gargantuan signing that he just did with Zuffa. Right? Does he not? Hot Girl Summer Stevenson, which is wonderful for Shakur, right? This big Zuffa deal that he done, officiated and signed, right? But that money was heavily contingent upon him making the fight that they actually wanted, ladies and gentlemen, which is the fight with Young King. That's what they were interested in. That's what they have posited they were interested in. That's what a whole bunch of sources have reported, that they have been told that Zuffa was interested in, so forth, etc. Right? That was their big fight. Let's do this and let's get two beautiful, warriors, and they are going to have a clash. A clash of the Titans is really going to set Zuffa off. Because what is the biggest fight in boxing other than Young King versus Shakur Stevenson, ladies and gentlemen? That is it. How many times have I said that? It's the most beautiful, biggest fight in the sport. Okay? But, here is the imbecilic E.T. Stevenson doing everything, ladies and gentlemen. Everything in his power, as we have seen, to avert from the fight's materialization. How does that make sense? Where is the logic? So that in essence, beautiful people, this man apparently signed and alleged, Shakur I'm talking about, signed and alleged, $15 million per fight. I guess the total of it was $60 million, whatever it is, contract. What is the point of that signing of the contract if he is not going to be in alignment with the concretization of the Devin fight, brothers and sisters? What have these people essentially paid Shakur Stevenson for? You get me? So that if he is not going to fight the Young King, what the hell did they pay his ass $60 million for, ladies and gentlemen? Can somebody answer that? Zuffa allegedly wants to make the biggest fight in boxing. Devin versus Shakur, that is the fight. And this chump Shakur Stevenson, this coward, has done everything possible. Every action, every antic, every charade, made every cop-out, every evasion that you can think of to dissuade from making the fight. Where the hell does that make sense? Especially when you got this gargantuan, substantial amount of money that you just signed for. Do you guys think that Zuffa by now wouldn't be looking at least somewhat sideways at this fraud, Shakur Stevenson? You don't think these people are asking questions? I mean, let's just use common sense. I'm not in the boardrooms. I'm nowhere near these fighters or management teams and so forth, etc. I have no idea. But just in using goddamn common sense, people, you give somebody goddamn $60 million to do the thing that you ought to, that you want to bring and make boxing great again, right? Uplift the sport with the biggest, most beautiful fight that can be made in all of boxing. And one of the parties involved is retracting, recoiling from doing the very thing that you paid them substantial amounts of money for. You tell me how you would be looking at that person, if not sideways. Do you guys think that he is given $60 million in his lap to fight El Rayo or something like that? Right? Did they pay him that gargantuan amount of money so that he could fight Emilio Vargas? Ladies and gentlemen, do you think that money is going to suffice a Lamont Roach? You know what I mean? Potential bout, brothers and sisters? Just think about it. Right? So that, in thinking he was flexing on the Young King Devin by parading around like he does not need to fight him, what Shakur, the shook one, snatchway Stevenson inadvertently did. was throw dirt on his own goddamn casket, brothers and sisters. Right? Took the wind out of his own sails and marked his own credibility. Soiled it with the very people that gave him the most substantial deal of his lifetime up until this point. He thought he was flexing on DHP, parading around like he don't need Devin, according to him. As he stated across multiple platforms over the past week or two. You guys saw it on this platform, on that platform, on this platform. Oh, I don't need Devin. I don't need Tank. I can fight the real big fights like Lamont Roach and Antoine Russell. This is Shakur, brothers and sisters. He ultimately put himself in yet another fumble. Isn't that what I titled last week's discussion? Fumbling, once again, here's another one. He's incessantly fumbling with the choices and evasions he is constantly embarking on. Right? The young King Devin is the biggest fight of his career. And this is yet another duck of making the biggest fight of his career. Brothers and sisters, let's not be forgetful of the ducking that he pulled, the circumventing, the running away from, undisputed with the young King at 35. If that wasn't an opportunity of a lifetime, think about this. Here's yet another outright evasion of the biggest opportunity of this particular juncture in his career. So he ducked it then at 35. And here's another huge, gargantuan opportunity in this man's lap that he is also ducking. Seems like anything concerning the young King, this man will run far away from. Brothers and sisters, you can't make this level of imbecility up as a logical person. Absolutely crazy to me. But this is what you get for trying to falsely and baselessly beat your chest before you've even cemented your worth as a fighter, ladies and gentlemen. He got ahead of himself with the arrogance. But arrogance begets barrenness. You tell me what part of the boxing community who value and support this sport is going to clamor to see him fight any of those names mentioned. Ryo, Roach, and so forth, etc. How in the hell are those quote unquote big fights, bigger fights than that of the young King and Purple Pain Davis? You tell me. Ain't nowhere in goddamn hell any of these fights are bigger than those. Real talk, you know, who was even clamoring to see the Tio fight, like I said earlier? We got to really deal with that reality. Like I said, even though that was his most notable fight. Nobody clamored for that fight with Tio, ladies and gentlemen, prior to its announcement. Nobody was beating no goddamn door down to see him fight Teofimo Lopez at all. At all, ladies and gentlemen. And that fight was of note for his resume. There's no fight on the planet for that man that will ring bells like that of the fight with the young King Devin. Purple Pain Davis would be second to that at this particular point. Like I said, because he's not an active fighter and hasn't been for over a year. And allegedly doesn't intend to be active again until sometime next year. If that's even true, right? So that I don't consider him in the fold. But yes, Purple Pain is second to that. Right now, young King is absolutely Shakur Stevenson's biggest fight of his life. Okay? Yet this man, Shakur, has publicly stated within the past week repeatedly, brothers and sisters, that he, quote unquote, doesn't need them. That he has millions and can do and fight whomever he pleases. Oh, really? Well, let's see how that works out for Shakur Stevenson, brothers and sisters. Let's see how that works out, right? And let's see if he can go ahead and go fight whomever he wants. Let's see to what avail the outcome is. Let's see if he can try doing that without clout chasing Devin's name, without remaining in proximity to DHP. Let's see if he can fight all of these other people besides DHP without the mentioning of DHP. Because that seems to be the real impossibility. No matter who he's fighting, at some point, he's always going to circle back to mentioning Devin. Let's see if he can do all these other fighting of other people with no mention whatever, no association whatever with DHP. Let's see if he and that old slick beard jive turkey can think up an alternative publicity scheme to keep Shakur Stevenson relevant outside of the use of the young king's name, right? I'll be interested to see that. Now, the last thing that I wanted to tap into, brothers and sisters, before we end our discussion today, is something that, like I posited earlier, is something very interesting, and it's something that I think not enough people are allowing themselves to be privy to, of course, outside of conscious spaces like this one, Beautiful King BF, so forth, etc., of the people that we respect and admire out here. Now, excuse me. What I had peeped, I think this was just yesterday. I had peeped this. Yes, this was yesterday on my Twitter, and I just found this to be interesting and very, very problematic for me. I know many of you will definitely agree with the sentiments that I hold regarding, elite Black fighters and our stature, right? The stature that we hold as Black boxing fans and the fighters who we respect, elite Black warriors. I know that my good family will agree with this, that you guys hold the same sentiments and views. And I'm also aware of the fact that you guys are aware of the insistence that seems to be had in boxing. There's some type of insistence to have racist Riri positioned with elite Black fighters. You guys know this because we have touched upon this in the past, a while back, right? And so here it is again at the forefront, needing to be divulged and highlighted. But there's this need for the boxing world to in some way find an avenue to associate and align this coward, Riri the racist, with elite Black fighters in some particular way. I mean, visually, the spectacle of him being associated with premier Black fighters. Okay. And not only that, but we are seeing that some of these Black athletes, right? A lot of whom we would deem to be respectable, people that we like and support. There is a need within these fighters to allow for that association with them, ladies and gentlemen. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Let me see if I can paint this better and make it more coherent and crystallized for you. Okay? Some of these fighters have an insistence on positioning themselves as well with racist Riri, where they find themselves associating with him, being seen, embracing him in some type of way, being affable with him. There's an inviting type of energy. They even can be congratulatory of racist Riri when they are in his presence. Their posture is accepting, etc., and so forth. Do you guys get me? It is a phenomenon, brothers and sisters, that has how do I want to say this? It's been unfoundingly the norm ever since racist Riri cheated the young King Devin. This is because before that, nobody gave a damn. Nobody was checking for that old racist coward, right? But suddenly, after that spectacle, after the fiasco of him being caught as a PED filthy drug cheat, brothers and sisters, and after he had amassed the visibility by way of cheating the young King Devin, this is where we saw a crazy amount of people overwhelmingly flooding in to protect this man. Facts or no, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen a wave of fighters intentionally at that time, for example, withholding their critique. We saw the media withholding any critique, any reproaching of that man's behavior, right? Withholding of scrutiny from the media and from fighters by the droves. No scrutiny whatever of racist Riri at that particular point for his actions as a whole. What we instead saw over the past 2.5 years, brothers and sisters, has been a choosing to cajole racist Riri, to placate to racist Riri, and to assuage any notion of him not being a drug cheat. This is what we saw instead, brothers and sisters. Right? Attempts to rebrand his image by the media, and also an attempt to show him a level of love and protection and acceptance by myriad fighters who publicly chose to either stay silent or to be seen publicly with him, giving him a fucking high five, so forth, etc. That's still being done today. And the image that I saw yesterday once again brought that reality to the forefront for me. While I was on my timeline, good people, just scrolling on Twitter as I tend to do when I have a moment, I came across a post from Ring Magazine, and they posted a video, and this was kind of like, you know what I mean, startling for me. They posted a video of the young Prince Abdullah Mason. All right. Now, what was essentially going on, and for all intensive purposes, we see the young King Abdullah schmoozing with racist Riri, right? I mean, it's not outrightly, you know what I'm saying, glazing or anything like that, but he is seen in conversation with Riri, okay? Now, I get the fact that it was media day or whatever it was that they were doing, okay? But I definitely want to posit a question, and I did posit a question upon seeing it, and I want to present, you know, some of that aspect to you guys. And the question is there a line that should be drawn somewhere in the sand that clearly, or that ought to clearly, demarcate, right? A line that demarks the boundaries of business, morals, and cultural standards? And if so, if you guys do believe that there should be a line drawn as far as our people in the sport are concerned, why are people within the culture, our culture, so constantly reticent about standing on making such a delineation between what the lines of business are, what one's moral codes are, and what one's cultural representation ought to stand on? That's the question. And I made a post on Twitter with that in mind. And that post, since I put it up last night, has received some, you know, quite a bit of traction on it. And I got a lot of responses in the comment section that were very interesting. People in agreement with the perspective, right? And, you know, in that post, I posited a lot of the same sentiments. Of course, it wasn't verbatim of what I just said, but if you guys are on Twitter, you know, perhaps check that out, right? Why is it so difficult for elite Black fighters, brothers and sisters, to distance themselves from racist Riri, just as a whole? Why is that difficult? Why is that difficult? And we are a conscious bunch over here. And so I found it to be very fitting to bring the conversation to you guys, because I know you guys will, you know, have a pensive approach to it. You guys won't just, you know, just let it run over your heads or something like that, but that you will sit with it and you will think with it and we will converse about it. You know what I mean? Why is it so difficult for them to distance themselves, to take a stand against what the representation of Riri has evinced since his drug cheating scandal with Devin? And not only the drug cheating scandal, but the racist, outrightly abhorrent and disrespectful sentiments that he had expressed, particularly and purposely toward our people. Are these men in boxing being incentivized, brothers and sisters, to cuss at that clown? Are they being incentivized to cuss at and coddle him, to aid in inducing a state of public amnesia about the fact that he is a drug cheating coward, and also the man who said, quote unquote, F all niggas and Muslims? Let me put something on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, because we're not going to play with this today. We are absolutely not going to forget what is on your screen. We're not going to forget that. Us real ones. This is the sentiment that this man has expressed. And he has not only expressed it in this post, but that he went on a public platform, brothers and sisters, and said the most vile, the most disgusting things about our people and the struggles of our people. Let's not be forgetful, ladies and gentlemen, and let's not let these chumps off the hook, these sympathizers of this sucker, this clown. F all niggas and Muslims. You see it on your screen. This is racist Riri, ladies and gentlemen. No filter, no nothing on this. This is his post that he made in 2024. This is the man who went on a public platform and said that he was glad about the killing and unaliving of George Floyd, and that he wished he could join the Klan, dig up the remains of our brother Floyd, and unalive him again. This is the racist Riri that they are loving up on in front of the cameras today. That they are saying, oh, I like your style. I like your timing. I like your speed. This is who Adrian Broner is doing everything but kissing up on his podcast with that old other sucker that he does the show with. This is the Riri they are talking about. The one that said this on your screen. And probably far worse in the comfort of his own privacy. So that in having an array of Black elite figures, brothers and sisters, in the sport, seen publicly avouching their support for Ryan, publicly seen embracing this old racist sucker, laughing with him over FaceTime calls like Shakur Stevenson did and Keyshawn David did on that FaceTime call, keying it up with this coward, dapping him up, etc., so forth. Is this the way and their way of effacing, looking to efface the disgusting sentiments that was expressed by this man? They want to efface it. They want to delete it from public memory. They want to erase it from the mental reservoir of the public by being seen with him, by congratulating him, by saying, oh, Ryan, you so funny. Oh, Ryan, you so pretty. Oh, Ryan, you so this or that or the third. The more that they do this publicly, the more the people forget. Is that the objective? To induce a forgetfulness of the boxing public that this man said, what is on your screen? And even worse than that, about the lynching of our people who still go through it today. Bless up to the King Carmelo Anthony. Bless up to the king, the young prince who just lost his life on the bout, and the countless other brothers and sisters that we can run down a list on. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Why aren't things like this being taken seriously? Is this their way of effacing this coward's disgusting behavior and track record that he willingly put out? Berating our people, berating our history, our current reality, and overall identity, ladies and gentlemen. You tell me. I did a live a few months back about racist Riri and the twisted, demented need that he and all of his team have to continually place him in association and proximity to Blackness, the very Blackness that he berated and lambasted and degraded. There's a sick need to remain in proximity to it, though. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that curious? The man who hates all ends and all Muslims has to at all times remain near ends in order to have a sense of relevancy in boxing. Isn't that amazing? He gained so-called fame by taking PEDs and cheating against that young King Devin. It is how he continues to this day to hold visibility in the sport because of his counterfeit practices against Devin. This is why he is a spectacle. This is why he is so a person of high visibility and supposed popularity. It's because of what he did. Ladies and gentlemen, he has sustained himself off of the visuals, off of the fact that he satisfied a fetish, that he satiated this fetish that many sick, vile people in boxing, in and out of boxing, fans and otherwise, who were absolutely salivating at the chance to see somebody of elite stature like that young King Devin brought to heel, brought into a position of being compromised in whatever way possible. That is what that racist Riri satiated in them. A compromised elite black man. And he is being constantly to this day rewarded and reinforced for that. That is the basis of his visibility and relevancy in boxing. And because he attended to that craving, racist Riri has been having all types of red carpets rolled out for him at every turn and still is. But in addition to that ridiculous, vile, drug cheating antic that he pulled, in addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, he also has to maintain an extended sense of relevance by way of being associated with Black people. And he does so by remaining in close affiliation with Black culture, being, seen popping up on Black platforms, Twittering back and forth with Black fighters, starting, contrived fake ass call outs of this, that, and the third. And of course, constantly remaining as best he can in association himself with Devin for that relevancy. He was recently seen, like I said, on that, I don't watch that, ridiculous stuff, but I did see a clip of the AB and the whoever the other guy is. I think his name is Dean, something like that. Racist Review went on that platform recently as I came across on my Twitter platform, right? We see AB coquettishly, brothers and sisters, coquettishly conversating with this chump racist Riri. I mean, just totally embracing and placating to this man in the clip that I saw, right? The man that hates all ends and Muslims. Okay? We saw that broad Najee do the same thing when he had invited racist Riri on his platform some time ago, as you guys recall, about a year or so ago, I believe, in which that dude received hella backlash for that from the Black conscious boxing community, right? And now, here we see the young King Abdullah Mason showing no qualm with giving praise to this chump's supposed attributes. Now, what Abdullah was doing was innocent enough because they had asked him a question and he was there. So I'm not going to say he ran into the lap of racist Riri. That's not what I'm trying to posit at all. Okay? I think I have this. Hold on. Let me send it to myself so that I can show you guys this clip, this particular receipt. Hold on. Because I think I do have it. Hold on. I think I can remove this one and let me add this one. Video, here we go. Let me upload this for the good people because...
What is your favorite part about his game?
Let me play this. Put a 9 in the chat if you guys can hear this. Can you guys hear this?
His mind.
Okay, let me know if you guys heard that and I'll rewind it and play it from the tippity top for y'all. Did you guys hear this? Yes. Salute to my good brother, the Druth, in the building. Infinite blessings to the Druth. Yes. Okay, I got some ones in the chat. Okay. All right. So we're going to start this from the top. Now, I do want to preface it. Like I said, Abdullah Mason was not like doing any particular type of, outright glazing or anything like that. But just pay attention to the construct of the questions that were presented by this particular person. It looks like he was trying to induce some glazing from Abdullah Mason. Okay? Listen closely.
What is your favorite part about his game?
His mind.
What's your favorite part about his game?
I would say his attentiveness, like
a lot of things he see that people don't know he see. So it's not only the speed, but also like you gotta have good eyes to how your timing down back. I feel like he got
His adjustment last fight was amazing.
I got another.
Right? So that it seems like the to really briefly pause right here. It's like, okay, well, what do you like about him? Oh, Abdullah, what do you like about him? What do you like about racist Riri, Abdullah? We'd love to know. And notice how the camera immediately zooms in on Abdullah's face.
Part about his game.
His mind.
What's your favorite part about his game?
I would say his attentiveness, like a lot of things he see that people don't know he see. So it's not only the speed, but also like you gotta have good eyes to how your timing down back. I feel like he got
His adjustment last fight was amazing.
I got another.
So that the young Prince Abdullah gave, a little assessment on the spot or whatever have you. Okay. But as he later admits, as you guys will see in just a second, he has to watch, he said he has to watch Ryan more to see any further because the dude is then trying to induce some more compliments that he can give racist Riri, right? And then of course we see racist Riri, trying to do his own glazing of Abdullah. Oh, he's really next up, right? I like him. I really do like him. Really? Don't you hate all niggas and Muslims? That happens to be a beautiful black brother next to you who is a Muslim. Make this the fuck make sense, brothers and sisters. Make this make sense. The very two things he disparaged and abhorrently lambasted and berated is standing next to him. A black Muslim, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on here? How is this acceptable to the young Prince Abdullah? Did he miss the memo? Now, I told you, young Prince Abdullah, for me, it's Young King, Devin, and Young Prince. That's why I call them, in that order. Young King, Young Prince. Two favorites currently. Of course, I have a lot more, right? But you know what I mean? That's my two right now. What is going on? Did he miss this memo, ladies and gentlemen? Does young Prince not have any cognizance about this? I will dispel that in just a moment because he very much does. He's very aware of the folly that was going on during the time of racist Riri's drug cheating scandal against the young king. Very much aware of that. In fact, he posited some thoughts on it. He was questioned, he and his family at that time, right? Very interesting response that they gave at that particular time. So he's very much aware of what was going on. I'm not sure if he's totally aware of all that Ryan was, fucking on a tirade on, a racist tirade on, right? But he's definitely aware of what was happening politically concerning the drug cheating of racist Riri. Let's continue that video though.
Another question.
Yeah.
What's his biggest weakness?
I mean, like everybody, we can all better our defense a little bit. All of us can, bro. It's just
What's Ryan's biggest weakness?
I'm in the same shape.
I don't know. Let me think. I gotta watch him a little more.
So the whoever the hell this is asking, well, what do you think Ryan's biggest weakness? And the young Abdullah posits that I have to watch him more. I don't really basically know too much of anything really to make that type of deduction.
But I mean, he's gonna be the next one up. I already declared it.
How old are you?
He's gonna be the next star. I promise you. Out of everybody, he's the one.
And here's the glazing from racist Riri. Isn't this amazing, brothers and sisters? He's the next up, y'all. Out of everybody, he's the one up next. You're damn right he is. And you have no business next to that level of potentiality in that beautiful brother. You have no business next to that beautiful young brother. As a racist, drug cheating, fraud, and coward.
Bro, it's just
What's Ryan's biggest weakness?
I'm in the same shape.
I don't know. Let me think. I gotta watch him a little more.
But I mean, he's gonna be the next one up. I already declared it.
How old are you?
He's gonna be the next star. I promise
that about aliens, by the way. He's the only one I've ever said that about. Fuck out of here. Chump. So that it's absolutely revolting, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely revolting. And I'm not going to come too hardly down, you know what I mean, on the young prince, because it looked like it may have just, I don't know if it was a run in, I don't know, whatever, you know, these people get stopped and asked questions by interviewers, so forth, etc. So that, you know what I mean? But that's why I say, where is the line? Where can we demark what the line is between business and conducting business with a moral code and cultural responsibility, ladies and gentlemen? That has to be found out for Black people, because so many other cultures seem to have it. And unfortunately, we seem to have missed that particular memo when it comes to our affairs. You say anything to the sort disparaging against these people of a Jewish faith and Jewish background. Anything. It doesn't even have to be disparaging. Just make them believe that you may have possibly thought something that was disparaging against their culture and their religious practices. And you already know what time those people are on, ladies and gentlemen. Right? For example, what are we going to demark and draw the line upon? When do we get to the point where we say, not this time? You will not be saying that, and you will not be supported in your sentiments that express anything close to that. The reprimanding and lambasting and censuring of our people. When do we get to that point, brothers and sisters? Absolutely unacceptable. That young Prince Abdullah better get hip to what is going on if he is not already. Obviously, he's not. He can't be. At least not as totally as he should be, brothers and sisters. He needs to get informed. All of these fighters do. This is no slight or me singling out of Abdullah. But this is to all these Black fighters who are, you know, just find themselves so whimsically placed in association to racist Riri. There got to be a lot of lines drawn, thick ass lines drawn, so that if I have to do business with you, it will be that and only that. You will get no goddamn keys if we are not fucking fighting each other. I have no business conducting no goddamn interview with this chump or being asked about what I think about his style, so forth, etc. Fuck his style. His style is to juice. That's his style. Next fucking question. And until we start getting real like that, nothing's moving the way we need it to be moving in boxing for us. If we're not speaking real like that, no sugar, no chaser. Now, getting back to what I remember the Masons' position was standing on at the time of the drug cheating scandal, right, with racist Riri. I clearly recall that during the height of that, you know, the fiasco, right, the Masons chose not to speak against what was done. Just because I like you does not mean I will not call you out for what I see. You got it twisted up in here. If you even think for a moment, a fraction of a second, that because I support you, you be on some fuck shit and not be called out on it and held accountable to it. I rocks too heavy with the Masons. It is what it is. Y'all all know we all rock with them up in here, right? But this is what it was at that particular time, brothers and sisters. The Masons chose not to speak against what was done. They chose not to even divulge any opinions whatever concerning racist Riri's drug cheating at that particular time. They, in essence, took a politically correct avenue when it came to expounding upon any thoughts concerning racist Riri's drug cheating. They chose silence, brothers and sisters. They chose not to ruffle feathers, which was quite surprising to me at that time. Never forget it. I'll never forget it. I would hope that these young brothers, right, the Mason crew in totality, are better than that, or have perhaps, you know, learned something since then, or I don't know what the hell, right? But one's actions will always be the revealer of their mentality and everything unspoken. Your actions will always speak the things unspoken. Okay? We are all aware of the media train, brothers and sisters, that this sucker, racist Riri, has behind him, right? And we all know that their aim is in keeping him in proximity to relevance. And when I say proximity to relevance, I mean proximity to blackness, brothers and sisters, because that is what keeps racist Riri relevant. That is what keeps racist Riri seen. So here he is chumming up next to Abdullah, just the way he was chumming up next to AB and the other dude, just like he was chumming up Chatty Patty, Kiki with Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn goddamn Davis on that fucking FaceTime call, so forth, etc. and etc. That's why he was calling out the name of Bud Crawford at that particular time before Bud retired, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he was trying to have himself in association with the young King Boots Ennis. Talk to me nice, ladies and gentlemen. You stop me when I'm capping. When did he ever call out a Ramirez or a Vargas or a Sanchez or a whoever for relevance? Never. Never. Because among his own people, he has no relevance. Brothers and sisters, it is via elite black warriorship that all of boxing maintains relevance and esteem. All of boxing maintains that esteem in association and proximity to blackness. And it is for this reason that I find it so unacceptable that these fighters are so willing to jettison their centrality and power within the sport simply so that they can get a pat of approval, a pat on the head from the people who want to have people leech off of our greatness, off of our swag, so forth, etc. They jettison the centrality of black elite power in boxing just so that they can be, I don't know, get a high five for some motherfucker in the suit who don't look like them. Too many turned, a side eye or turned their back on the representation of an unapologetic black stature and representing an unapologetic black position in boxing. Too many people have turned their back towards that, and the question is why? These are the things that were brought up to my attention in viewing this. Why is there, why is the spine of these athletes that we support non-existent in so many cases and instances? Of course, we can't put the jacket on every black fighter, right? Because we do got some real ones, right? Like DHP. We do got the Woke Clarissa Shields. You understand? But why is it so rampant? A reticence towards an unapologetic stance, ladies and gentlemen. I know where DHP stands. Take a look at your screen. Take a look at your screen, brothers and sisters. I know what the young king posited just last month about the tragic turning of events for this young, beautiful brother, Carmelo Anthony. I know where DHP stands. They're just about the only ones in boxing who even uttered a word about the beautiful young brother, Carmelo Anthony. Okay? Who couldn't even practice self-defense while his life was being threatened, his safety, his well-being being threatened. Can't even practice self-defense for himself, so long as it is involving somebody not of his culture. I know that DHP is standing 10 toes with these types of causes. I know that their awareness is peeled to what is going on. Right? I also know the type of time the group is on, brothers and sisters. Take a look also again at your screen. I know what the group is standing on, brothers and sisters. This was her posit just a few weeks ago on Twitter. This is what the sister had to say. I feel it a duty to represent black pride for my people in every fight, because I do represent the struggle, the ghetto, the bottom, the people who have always been counted out. I go out there and represent so they know they don't ever overlook us. We have pride about us too. In other words, brothers and sisters, just as all of these other cultures, beautiful cultures, I have no problem with anything culturally based. I support the expression of culture because I love mine. I can appreciate the next culture, right? All types of beautiful Mexican flags waving, big old sombreros waving, white, red, and green colors waving. I ain't no fucking hater. Go ahead and represent your goddamn people. But I don't want to hear a goddamn thing when I'm waving an FBA flag up in the air, when I'm waving a flag from IET up in the air, when I'm waving a fucking Jamaican flag up in the goddamn air, when I'm waving a flag from Angola in the air, when I'm waving a flag from goddamn Nigeria in the air, so forth, etc. I don't want to hear nothing when the expression of Black beauty is being explicated or evinced or shown in any way or to any capacity whatever. But unfortunately, that is viewed as weird in boxing, to stand on your culture, to say, no, I represent this group. This is me. Yes, we have a voice. Yes, we have a presence. Yes, we have an aesthetic. Y'all know it. Y'all fucking jacking swag left and right. You know what time it is. Y'all stay on our tip. Where the red, black, and green flags at? Point me in that direction. I'm there. I'm stepping heavy. But for some reason, we have a reticence, a reserve, or a hesitance and fear about unapologetic expressions of Blackness and that culture in boxing. So much so that we are willing to disassociate from its expression by accepting terms and values and stipulations that do not support or pertain to us or benefit us in any way. Hence, the reason why these people are so willingly, so alacritously running in to the defense of racist Riri, running in to say, oh, y'all too Black, pro-Black, so forth, etc., and all of these different types of tropes that we hear and see throughout the sport, right? The whole fiasco with racist Riri is just but an example, right? But it's a very significant example, because we've never in this era of boxing or in many years have seen, something of this likeness, wherein you cheating an elite undefeated Black male rise to prominence because of your cheating and berating and compromising of an elite Black male in the sport, like we witnessed with that of racist Riri and the Young King, right? So this is of paramount importance, and I wanted to bring that discussion to us. These are the people that they are hugging up on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? But like I said, we have very few. It may be possible that they are the only two. Maybe something like EJ. EJ is very, astute with that. Of course, Deontay Wilder is another one, who is drenched unapologetically in and about our culture, right? So that we have a few sprinkles of real ones, right? Not nearly enough, brothers and sisters. Not nearly enough. We got people conspiring to induce amnesia in boxing fans. People helping to erase this from your memory. This on your screen. Working to erase that from your memory, brothers and sisters. Particularly as it comes and as it pertains to racist Riri, because there is no other boxer who has done it on the level of racist Riri. Yes, we have Teofimo Lopez. He's another one that we can add up in there, right? But he has not amassed, critical acclaim off of his racism, off of his berating and compromising of a Black fighter. Racist Riri has. He has amassed a level of unheard of visibility because of those actions he pulled off. Absolutely disgusting. Do you guys remember that racist Riri when she was, because Clarissa Shields was the one, she was one of the only ones also, just like she always is, speaking up and out against the nonsense, right? Against the, any type of chiding remarks against Black people, so forth, etc. She was also one of the only voices and probably the most premier voice that spoke out against racist Riri at that time for his drug cheating and his racist rant that he went on, brothers and sisters. Do you guys remember that? And do you guys also remember that racist Riri harassed Clarissa Shields in her DM? Do you guys remember that? Racist Riri harassed Clarissa Shields, brothers and sisters, because she spoke out against him, his cheating and his racist rants. This bastard Riri gonna DM the quote. It was so disgusting, brothers and sisters. This motherfucker went into her DMs and chided her for having been a victim of molestation when she was a child. And not only did he chide her, brothers and sisters, this motherfucking coward, this chump, posited that her father is the one who had sexually assaulted her. Do you hear this, brothers and sisters? This is racist Riri. This is the disgusting coward. This is what he said to your sister, the Gwalt Clarissa Shields. Where were the brothers at in boxing, ladies and gentlemen? In her defense, because they were surely all around protecting goddamn racist Riri, calling him cute, calling him pretty. Where were they when he was harassing Clarissa about having been the victim of sexual assault as a child, molested as a child, brothers and sisters? Nowhere to be found is where they were, ladies and gentlemen. Any other time, you can't keep these soft-ass niggas off of Twitter. You can't keep these sassy-ass niggas away from a goddamn camera. But magically, nobody fucking surfaced when this fucking disgraceful, vile shit was being said to the quote. Because she was speaking out against his bullshit. Where was Shakur at that time? Isn't Shakur the one who calls the quote his quote-unquote big sis? Where was his public statements at? Last I checked, he was smiling from goddamn ear to ear with Keyshawn goddamn ADD Davis, smiling in the face of that filthy racist. That's what they were doing. But conveniently nowhere to be found when he is assaulting, essentially, harassing Clarissa for having gone through that despicable thing as a child, for having had to deal with that as a young girl. No Keyshawn in sight, no Shakur in sight. Purple Pain Davis nowhere in sight, but he is so quick to put up a picture though of Clarissa Shields as his profile picture to make fun of her and mock her. Do you get what I'm saying about the level of fucking spinelessness, ladies and gentlemen, in this sport from these brothers? Had nothing to say about that, but quick to put a picture of her up in effort to mock her. This is the level of mentality we are dealing with here, brothers and sisters. It's vile and it's absolutely revolting to know that these brothers are stepping on this type of time in boxing. Okay? Nowhere to be found is where they were, acting as if none of this happened, just like they were acting like none of Ryan's drug cheating happened, like none of the racist tirades that Riri was on happened. That's where they were. Acting like none of this was commencing. Like they didn't see anything. Right? And despite all of that nonsense that racist Riri was on, mind you, Clarissa was still with the shits. she's still resounding and forthright in calling his ass out because she, unlike a lot of these niggas in boxing, is unapologetically an advocate for Black representation, Black respect, Black cultural dignity in the sport and out of the sport of boxing. No chaser. No chaser. As she should be. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, if these fighters aren't seen signing up to fight racist Riri, if they are not being seen planning out some fight dates to mollywop that pussy all across the motherfucking ring, excuse my French, but I am heated, and so you're going to get this pressure. If they are not signing up to wash that man, mop him up in that ring, they have no business chumming up alongside him. The only business that should be had and held and conducted with that sucker is making an agreement to lay his ass out in real time in the squared circle. That's the only business that needs to be conducted with that man. Are we fighting or no? Everything else is for the birds. That is my posit, ladies and gentlemen. Racist Riri knows good and goddamn well that he has absolutely no credibility, absolutely no visibility, or nobility in anything outside of clout chasing, Black elite warriorship. He knows that he has no relevance in calling out another Mexican fighter. That's why he does not call out Mexican fighters. That's why he does not associate himself with anything called Latino, ladies and gentlemen. Why do you think you never see him calling out Mexican Latino fighters? Why is he not on their platforms? Why is he not doing sassy ass, fake ass call outs and face offs with them, tweeting to and about them, how he's better than them, so forth, etc.? Why does that never happen? It's always in context to and in association with Black people. Always. If you hate all ends so much, F all ends and all Muslims, why the hell can't you go a day without meat riding and swagger jacking? Think about that. Nobody gave a damn, brothers and sisters, about him versus Mario Barrios. Am I capping or no? Motherfuckers, completely forgot about that damn fight. Oh, he's fighting him? Oh, well. Fight was going on? Oh, well. Fight ended? Oh, well. Moving right along. Nobody gave a damn about him and no goddamn Barrio. The proof is absolutely evident, ladies and gentlemen. And that's true across the board when it comes to him fighting any Latino-centered or cultured person. Right? He has to fight and be associated and seen with Conor Benn. Conor Benn is Black. You know what I mean? Despite all goddamn, sentiments and I guess disconnectedness that he has, right, from the culture or whatever. Conor is still Black. Okay? Part Black. Okay? He has to do that. That is where he's going to get the, a little bit of buzz. Even though Conor is not really popping like that, he's still in association with that, and that still is what it is visually, okay? He has to most definitely associate himself with Devin. We saw the little tweets that they had, the exchange that, what's his name, drummed up. Oh, I'm waiting for you, Devin. Devin's like, what the hell are you waiting on? Waiting? Waiting for what, nigga? You know what I mean? So that he will always try to stir the fire so that he can maintain significance, visibility, by way of associating with Devin in some way, right? Off of the dream that he wants to smoke, the lie that he wants to smoke with Devin, when we all know that he doesn't. He ducked and dodged the rematch multiple times. That fight could have been done last May. Okay? Another one who doesn't want smoke with Devin, but wants all the benefit of assuming an association with that name. This is because racist Riri is of absolutely no value to boxing, brothers and sisters. And the Black viewership needs to be privy and cognizant of that. So many people dropped their thoughts in my comment section of that Twitter post that I made. Oh, and a lot of them were referring to the great ancestor Ali, right? Oh, a lot of people saying, listen, they don't make him like they used to. You know what I mean? I don't think we will ever see the likes of Ali again. Ali, because people knew, of course, and will always know and respect Ali for what he stood for as it pertained to our people. But it was sad to see that there is no belief that we could ever see people steadfast about our culture in the way that the great ancestor Ali was. Right? But we do have the likes of the GOAT Carissa Shields. We do have the likes of the young King Devin, who is privy, and unapologetic about his awareness and support for the things that go on concerning our people. We do have the likes of these men. We do have a Deontay Wilder, right? Who we could all respect and give credence to. But there were a lot of people in my comment section. Oh, we don't have it. It's not, people are not steadfast. There's no heart in boxing. There's nobody. Black people are just, there for the bag. They have no care about representation, so forth and so on. It was actually very dismal looking at the comment section. Because even though they were in absolute agreement with the point that I made, there was a dismal energy, a disheartened energy and tone about the fact that there are so few Black people willing to stand 10 toes on that unapologetic, steadfast, upright type of time as it pertains to us being respected in this sport and everywhere. Okay? I know a lot of people like to think of the great Ali in context to pop culture, but of course he was way more than that. It goes without saying. The reality was that he was not doing anything for pop culture's sake. Okay? The reality is that his greatness and impact resided in the fact, of course, as we know, that he was unrelenting about all things concerning his people in this country, Black people, and his position as a Black man. That is what he was consumed by and passionate about and in support of representing in the best way that he could. He was not afraid or apologetic in any way whatever about using the position that he had, the platform that he had gained for the use of enlightening, upholding, and raising the consciousness of his community, his people. That is why he is so beloved, ladies and gentlemen. And even the people that hated him had to ultimately concede and give that man his respect for his staunch position, unwavering position. They hated him and they're like, God damn, wow, he's such a man. That's a man of valor and character. Okay? He was not somebody that would ever accept any disparaging views. No fucking lambasting type of comments or sentiments being expressed were going to be allowed on that man's watch. Not on his watch. You were absolutely going to be chewed up and spit the fuck out if he heard it. You saying some racist ass, chump ass shit. Hell, he called out the Ring magazine. The very people who use his image day in and goddamn day out. He called the Ring magazine some chumps. Those were his words verbatim. He called Ring magazine chumps, brothers and sisters. Because they be on the racist shit and the bias shit. Okay? He definitely called them that in his day. Because he knew what was at hand as a prominent elite Black male. Prominent elite Black athlete and figure. He knew what time it was hitting for. And he fought for our recognition in myriad ways with his political activism and his honesty and forthrightness about his dispositions. Okay? It goes without saying, brothers and sisters, we don't need to sit here all night giving a history lesson on that. The real ones know what the great ancestor Ali stood for. Okay? But these people these days, some of these fighters today, many of them, whatever their affiliations, have no sense of value for the severity of Black representation. That's what it seems to be to me. They are so quick to let it go, to jettison it, to bypass it, to relinquish that presence and the importance of their culture, just so that they can feel acceptance from people outside of their culture, so that they can get the approval from people who are signing their checks, so forth, etc. Which is diabolical work. In essence, they are doing it for the bag, right? But how much is a bag worth is something that I always posit. That's about as far as their mentality seems to stretch, brothers and sisters. How much am I getting paid? Because if you're not talking about how much I'm getting paid, ooh, you getting too deep now, you're here. Don't you go on your Black power tirade, Sugar Free, so forth, etc. Right? But when Sugar Free is in the building, Black power is in the building. You cannot separate the two. And for my real ones in the building, the good family in the building, it's the same thing. So that we need to be conscious as a Black boxing community, brothers and sisters, and we need to further charge these fighters, to look at themselves in relation to this type of discourse, right? Charge you about what it is that you are supporting when you are cajolingly accepting, hugging up on racist Riri in public. The man who said this, yeah? We need to hold y'all accountable to that, to you being smitten with him and kissing up on and loving up on him, so forth, etc. What is it that you are doing? What is it that you are translating to us, the Black boxing viewership, right? These people seem to forget that, regardless of the paper that they're making, they too are Black men and Black women who can easily end up on the chopping block, ladies and gentlemen. Easily. And at the drop of a dime, just because they keying and high-fiving you now, you have a semblance of approval now, you made it to number 3 on their pound for pound list now, does not mean that you will not be thrown to the damn pits in the next second. Right? Anyway, brothers and sisters, I think I will end it there. I wanted to show you this. I think I put it on the screen prematurely. But I took a snapshot of the young king who posted this, not too long ago, few week or so ago, about some big news that is pending. I'm excited about what's in store for DHP. Okay, a lot of the fingers that have been pointing at him, he rightfully pointed back at them, and he continues, even if he is not trying to point the finger back at them. His uprightness and mobility in the sport speaks for itself, and that is the biggest pointing of a finger. Let me take this off the screen so that you can see him. The little video that I made of him pointing. Right, that's the biggest pointing a finger that the young king can do, is continuing steadfastly and uprightly on his path. Right, and solidifying further that beautiful legacy that he's already begun embarking upon for himself. So that finger, oh, Devin is this. Devin is too big. Devin is a weight bully. Why is Devin so drained? Why is Devin not trying to be undisputed? Who is Devin fighting? When is Devin gonna sign a contract? Why don't Devin do this? Why don't Devin do that? Every goddamn thing that they don't demand from their own fucking fighters, Devin got to do. Why? Because he is Himothy. Himothy. That's why the demands are solely resting upon his shoulders, because even these suckers, broad-ass, bird-ass chumps know that he is him. And if anybody's going to get it done properly, it will be him. Yes, I said it. Unapologetically. All right, let me check in with the good family before we go out and wrap this whole thing up, good people. Oh my goodness, is that the general? Salute to the general up in here. The King, 7-8 Sports up in the building with the love. Appreciate you, King. for stopping by. Yes, indeed, I'm cooking, good brother, right? Good old cooking up in here. We had to speak plainly today, King 7-8. You know how we do, right? The King Slim says, facts. So who is this? Oh, Detroit. Salute to you. Detroit Heavy Bag says, low key, he about to lose to Connor. Child. Listen, I chose not even to speak or at all shed any particular light on anything that they had going on throughout the past few days. I believe they had a presser or whatever. You will never find coverage of that nonsense and inanity on my page. I refuse to highlight that coward, right? 2 drug cheating suckers were on that stage, brothers and sisters. 2 roid raging suckers. That's what it looked like to me. A roid raging goddamn freak off. That's what that little glimpse that I got of the presser looked like to me. I don't give a damn about either of them. Okay? I think I got some super chats up in here. I got the King Young World who blessed us big earlier. Salute to you again, King. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate you. Oh my goodness, the G came up in here with some love and he says, cook queen, infinite blessings to the G. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, we got the King here for boxing. Salute to my good brother here for boxing, showing some love. He says, my good sis, infinite blessings to the King here for boxing. One of my favorite people to come across in the social media streets. Let me see who else I got up in here. I appreciate your support, King, here for boxing. Thank you so much. My sister is feeling it. She says, yes. Infinite blessings to my beautiful sis. Oh, the King Tyson is up in here. Salute to the King Tyson. Nice to see you. Infinite blessings. He says, Ali might have fucked around and tried to slap the shit out of Ryan Ho ass. You already know. It would not be tolerated in that man's presence. Are you kidding me? There's no way possible that man would have been walking scot-free if that sucker found his way back to Ali's times, ladies and gentlemen. It will never be tolerated in that man's presence. Absolutely not. Right? But these kids today, I don't know what type of time they're on. There's a lack of heart. You know what I mean? There's a lack of spinelessness that is absolutely revolting, ladies and gentlemen. I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. Is that my beautiful sister Emma, the Empress? Salute to the Empress up in the building. Hey, beautiful Empress. She says, I'm very late. However, endless love to the beautiful sugar-free Mars. And this is yet another successful cook session with her heart and her nines. Infinite peace and blessings to the beautiful Empress, Emma Love in the building. Lovely to see you as always, beautiful sis, Emma. We got the King BVO up in here. Salute to the King BVO. Blessings to you. Black Jericho is up in here as well. Salute, King. He says, she ain't never scared, as Bone Crusher would say. Absolutely. That quote is always 10 toes. Always. You understand me? She don't do no half. Oh, I'm scared, or there won't be no black talk here. Never that when the quote is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? I'm just scrolling a little bit of a ways up. I see you guys positing some thoughts. Yeah, it's always interesting to see you guys' take. You know what I'm saying? I definitely respect the good family on this side. You know what I'm saying? I'm very proud of our little community here, right? And the same thing in the yard, right? That's really my community. You know what I'm saying? Between here, of course, on my side, the yard, that's really the family, right? And of course, we also cross paths with our great brother, the General, right? 78th page, our good brother, the Drew. I love the community that we have here, and I really do value and respect you guys' thoughts. So, in conversating with you, I really get all types of confirmations and revelations of things that even I possibly may have missed or possibly could appreciate coming from a different perspective, so forth, etc. So the good family, your thoughts definitely are weighted and they definitely have significance here. So it's lovely to always read your comments and exchange with you guys. Yes, salute to King O. He says, I'm supporting Devin only until the rest show me something. Oh, okay. So you're supporting him only until they prove something to you? That's an interesting statement. That's an interesting statement. To each his own. To each his own. Unless you meant something else by that, right? He also says the GWOAT is harder than 90% of the black boxers. Cowards. Yeah. GWOAT is heavy in these damn streets. Okay. And she puts a high percentage of these fighters today, as you posited, King O, to shame, for sure. Definitely. I'm just scrolling through here, you guys, all up in y'all business to see if any thoughts pop out at me. Infinite blessings, of course, to the good family and anybody that I may have missed. I just went all the ways up, but I think I'm good on those. Thank you, King Tyson. Great live. Salute, beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and all of the support of the good family. I think I'll end it there. I kind of went a little bit past my time, my usual time, but I just wanted to push the conversation, brothers and sisters, propel the dialogue, of course, surrounding the things that we have seen, the inanity surrounding Shakur Stevenson, the level of cowardice that he is not being forced into this, that he is willingly partaking in, right? He and that old slick beard jive turkey, contriving all types of schemes to avoid and evade and avert, right? Real elite competition at the elite level, the very thing that will stamp and solidify him as a fighter, he is averting from, okay, which is absolutely questionable. And we have to, as boxing diehards, then question, his merit, his sense of valor, and what his moral compass is. If he is somebody that could, so willfully and cowardly run from the smoke with Devin. Devin is 10 toes in it. Devin has always been saying, yo, what's popping? I want to get it cracking with you. Shakur Stevenson was what? Number 2 on the hit list last year, brothers and sisters. And we already know that Shakur Stevenson was invited to tangle with him for Undisputed at 35. So that this smoke that Devin has been on, it's been years in the goddamn making. Okay? He's always been inviting Shakur Stevenson to get the business on him, to get fucking mollywopped. He's been inviting you to get cooked for I don't know how goddamn long, since y'all was babies, real talk, right? But definitely in the professional scheme of things, okay? So that the opportunity is more than available to him, especially considering the fact, brothers and sisters, these substantial, huge, gargantuan amounts of money that have been put in place to enforce this fight's materialization. There is no reason why it's not happening, other than the fact that Shakur Stevenson is scared to death of the young king. We got to speak plainly. We got to speak plainly about that. And that's definitely what I always intend to do on this side. All right. Now, on that note, beautiful Black people, your viewership as a Black audience, as a Black diehard, as a Black boxing supporter in general, right? No matter what degree of the spectrum you stand on, is of paramount and centrality in boxing. I always like to encourage that within you, because you guys know the propaganda against the Black dollar, the Black viewership in boxing. We don't show up for boxing. We don't support boxing, so forth, etc. Don't believe the nonsense of that, good people, right? Your place and your stature has always been a significant one, okay? And we're going to continue to rep as hard as we do, and we are going to continue to build our cognizance, around this sport, right? And we are also, and most importantly, going to be unapologetic about our culture and its paramount and centrality in the sport, right? Black culture, Black excellence, and the enforcement and expression of our excellence in all things that we do in and outside of the ring. On that note, good people, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for chilling with me. Shout out, first of all, to DHP, first of all, because they are always standing 10 toes in what they do, but to the king, the young king himself, who showed up into our live today, brothers and sisters. What a lovely surprise that was. Definitely made my night. Young King has just been blessing me all week. He gave me a follow on the Twitter. Then he pops up into the live. So I definitely feel, honored and grateful, right? He's my favorite boxer in the world. So to have a little nod of approval for him is definitely heartwarming, to say the least. I appreciate you, Young King. Thank you again for showing some support to the channel by popping in the chat. Thank you for everything that you do in boxing, and continue on that journey. And you will continue
to have my and all the brothers and sisters in here. You will have all of our support so long as you continue on your journey uprightly and unapologetically, good brother Devin. Thank you so much for that. Peace and blessings to the good family. I'll chop it up with y'all on the next one. Infinite peace, infinite blessings.